lead the wild card race, and it's up to Seattle for a pair versus the Mariners. Oregon State slows down Aztec Fast at Snapdragon. What has to happen before the trip up to Berkeley? And NFL Week 1 ends tonight. We break down a full weekend with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim. Brent's going to tell us throughout the course of the day what giveaways we have here today. So we'll get those to you. I know we have giveaways. Jennifer Lee Chan covers the Niners, NBC Sports Bay Area. Does anyone even care about the Niners tonight? Oh, Jim is here. He does.
They're playing?
They're playing tonight, 5:20, Niners and Jets. We will get into it with Jennifer Lee Chan. Jim just said something in his update. I'm like, you're dead wrong, dude. But I'm just going to let you get away with it, and then I'll just make fun of you on air. He goes, the Padres are 2 games up on, the wild card, basically. They lead it by a half game over Arizona, and they're 2 games up on Atlanta and New York. I'm like, no, they're not. They're 3 games up. I'm like, you got this wrong. And then I look at the standings, and Lord, you're right, which makes your proclamation about the guarantee and they're going to the playoffs, and here's the parade route, even more crazy. It's September 9th.
I never said that.
I'm kidding, but it's September 9th. They have 17 games left, Jim. They're 2 games up in a playoff spot, despite still having the best record in the majors in the second half. Are you kidding me? Now, they don't have to be perfect, but it wouldn't even take a quote-unquote collapse for them to be on the outside looking in. Yeah, all 3 of those teams would need to play better than them, Arizona, Atlanta, and New York. But we're talking about 2 games. 2 games. We're talking about practice. We're talking about 2 games. I thought we were talking about 3 games.
I'm still not going to sit here and say me saying that my confidence on them going to the postseason should be taken back. I still stand by that. I still feel very confident they're going to make the postseason, but that's just the postseason. The 4 seed hosting a playoff series, the division is over. It's dead. It's done.
Oh, it's completely
no
done.
more division talk until otherwise, which won't be the rest of the season. The confidence level in them making the postseason for me is still, I still am there. I'm still confident.
Is it as high as it was when they were 19-3 over those 22 games?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why I asked.
Because the Braves would have to play some really, really good baseball. Now, they do have the easiest strength of schedule remaining, second easiest strength of schedule behind the Dodgers.
Dude, what is it in the loss column? It's 1 game in the loss column.
I know. The Mets are a problem, but
dude, I don't even know where to start the show. I am literally shocked that I thought it was 3 games. I think I was looking at non-updated standings last night. I kid you not.
Really?
On the wrap-up show. I'm not kidding.
You're like, 3 games.
I think I had them pulled up from the day before. I'm like, 3 games is still 3 games. It's 2 games, but to your point from last night as well, and 70470 started with team or 877-767-4760. How confident are you that this team is definitively going to the postseason? They are 1 game up in the loss column on Atlanta and New York. They're even in the loss column with Arizona. That's what they're working. Their margin is thin right now.
It's very thin. But
I'm shocked.
Okay.
I'm just shocked that it got to this point. You can't lose a home series to San Francisco.
No,
we said that.
It was bad.
We said you cannot lose that series at home.
It was a bad weekend for the Padres. Dylan Cease continues to look bad. The Ha-Seong Kim situation, which we will get into later, that is bad. That 4th inning yesterday,
that was bad.
That was bad. Yeah, it's not the greatest thing ever, but at the same time, I think their chances of getting either the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th seed are still very good.
I agree with that. They are.
But the chances of them hosting a playoff series, that is completely up in the air, in my opinion.
Well, it's a coin flip.
It's a coin flip. There's 2 different things here. If you're telling me my confidence level in them getting the 4 seed and hosting a playoff series here at Petco,
yeah,
that's not very high right now. But my confidence them of just making the postseason as whatever seed that they could be, that still remains pretty high.
Fangraph says 90%, which is pretty high. You know my line. I'm not going to use it here, but you know my line. But remember, this was actually 95% heading into the weekend. It's come down because they really did squander an opportunity. The opportunity being win a home series against the Giants. They win game 1 on Friday night. Manny Machado hits all the home runs. Everyone's, celebrating where the Padres are in the standings as they should have been. But to your point, Dylan Cease is given a 2-run lead the other day. Saturday, they lose the game. And then yesterday, I mean, there's so many factors in there. It's hard to kind of cry over yesterday. They allowed 6 runs in the inning, including 3 home runs. So I'm not going to be like, they should have won it, but they did rally in that game. There was also a quote-unquote sun ball that just kind of landed right next to Fernando Tatis Jr. That led to a run. The difference in the game was a run. That, just for me, like the sour taste is losing a home series to the Giants. Maybe it's less about the standings and more about you lose that series. Now I look at what's to come, Jim. Of the 17 remaining games, I have 3 in the easy category. And honestly, I have 14 in the hard. I'm not kidding when I say that. If there's 2 categories between easy and hard, White Sox are easy. That's 3. 14 are hard. At Giants, at Mariners, home Houston, at Arizona, at LA. That's not easy to me.
No, they're all difficult. They're all difficult. They're going to have to play some good baseball because if they go 8-7 here,
it's 17 games, 9-8.
Oh, sorry,
9-8,
17. I thought they said 15.
17.
Yeah.
17.
So if they go 9-8, that's 90 wins, and
they're in.
That
right?
to me, it's hard to envision you winning 90 games and at least not getting the 6th seed. If they go 10-7, or sorry, 10-8, then no, 10-7.
Math doesn't work.
Sorry, my math is horrible. Never listen to me with math.
Right.
10-7, 91. Like, okay, you're feeling pretty decent about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If they go better than that, 11-6. That to me, 11-6 guarantees they're in the postseason. Even 10-7 feels like almost close to a guarantee.
Probably.
I think to lock up that 4, you're probably gonna have to be 12-5 to feel good about things.
Yeah, maybe, or 11-6. But like, you lay out what 11-6 means, and that's like winning a series at Dodger Stadium, maybe 2-1, or winning a series against the Arizona Diamondbacks on the road. Right. That's that involves no setback series where you drop 2 games in Seattle or you get swept for bid somewhere as well. Like, like to go 12-5, like that's almost flawless down the stretch, or 11-6. That's pretty close to flawless down the stretch.
And for as great as they played in the second half up to this point, we mentioned this. They're going to have to continue to play at that pace.
Mm-hmm.
Just to like feel good about things, just to get that 4 seed, because that 4 seed is up for grabs. The Mets, they have been on a roll. They've won 9 out of their last 10 games. They hold a tiebreaker over the Padres. The Braves have played average of late. They're 5-5 in their last 10. Same thing with the Padres. Diamondbacks blew out Houston the other day, and they're a half game back. Like, this thing could really come down to, no joke, the final day of the year. It could come down to, okay, if you win on that Sunday, you host Arizona on Tuesday. If you lose, you're back here in Arizona, or at least you're just staying there, and you play on Tuesday. So it's just having a bad weekend here versus the Giants puts you in a position where those thoughts that I just said are going to start potentially coming to life here.
But to your point, and by the way, 70470 started with team. How confident are you right now? They're a game up in the loss column on a playoff spot. Like, how did that happen? Or 877-767-4760. You just said, and I agree with you, it could come down to the final day of the regular season for that 4 or 5 seed. Jim, it could come down to the final day of the regular season, whether you're in or out. Because the difference is a loss.
I know.
Right now. So, like, we said, hey, wouldn't it be nice if they wrapped up a playoff spot with a week to go? And it felt like that was happening when they went 19-3. And then we said, you know what? Maybe they'll wrap up a playoff spot with like a series or more to go. 3, 4, 5 days. It's not overly stressful the final few days of the season. And now we're talking about maybe wrapping up a playoff spot that final weekend and maybe wrapping up a seed that final day. And I'm saying, well, what if you're playing for your lives on the final day of the regular season, which is at least a possibility based on the standings right now?
It's wild how just a month and a half ago, we all thought, 83, 84 maybe. Like, they get to 84, 85 wins, you're probably getting a postseason spot.
Nowhere close now.
Now it's like, if you don't get to 90 wins, then you're asking for trouble here.
Yeah.
Which I actually kind of appreciate, because that means that you have a good season.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 91 wins or 92 wins, that's a good team. You're not sitting here saying, like, are they really good?
No, I agree with that.
Like, they're a good baseball team. We all know that. And one of these teams is going to be left out. One of these teams is going to be there with a pretty decent season record wise, potentially 90 wins and not make the postseason.
Oh, well, I hope it's not us, so to speak. I mean, I really hope for everyone listening to us right now after this second half. That's the most San Diego thing ever. Like, it really is. All we've said all half long is they got the best record in baseball. How on earth, how does the math support having the best record of the second half and having a 1-game lead in the loss column on a playoff spot? Now, again, is it razor thin? I say 1 game, that sounds razor thin. It's not razor because all 3 teams have to pass you. Mets, Braves, Diamondbacks. If anyone plays poorly, you're safe. If anyone plays poorly, one of those 3 teams, Jim, could go 7-10. Go 6-11, whatever the math is. But again, your lead in the loss column is only a game. And I'm looking at like tonight, Braves are playing, Mets are playing. Like they could just put more pressure on you by winning. And none of this is easy, even to the point of this, Jim. The White Sox series, and we're looking into the future. The White Sox series, you basically have to sweep it, which isn't a great way to go into a series. Like, we have to win all 3 games definitively or else. I'm already thinking about that right now, too.
The good thing is you hold the tiebreaker over Atlanta. Okay.
That's good.
Bad news is you do not hold the tiebreaker over the Mets. And the tiebreaker is yet to be determined over Arizona.
It's whoever wins the series.
That final 3-game series, you're right. Whoever wins that series gets that there and probably will get the advantage in the postseason, either being the 4 hosting or the 5 having to play on the road. So that right there is how it's laid out. Mets, you want the Mets to lose. Obviously, Atlanta, you want them to lose as well, but you hold the tiebreaker over them. So
you'd prefer the Mets first, Braves second in that hypothetical in terms of losing.
Correct.
Yep.
And then Arizona, same situation because you want to get that 4 seed and you want to host potentially Arizona here at Petco Park. That's how it's laid out right now. And again, they just squandered an opportunity that was right in front of them versus a bad Giants team this weekend by not playing good baseball. They did. Friday night, they played fantastic. I was there. Manny Machado tied Nate Colbert. His next home run will pass Nate Colbert, and he'll be the all-time home run leader in franchise history.
And hopefully it happens on the road, by the way, because they're about to be on the road for a week.
Yep.
Right, for 5 games.
Yep, and that'd be nice if Manny Machado plays well. Exactly. And then Saturday happens, and they have an early lead, and then Dylan Cease just continues to be average. Like he is, ever since his no-hitter, and that 1 inning that he pitched in Pittsburgh, and then they had to call that thing off. Ever since that game, he has been average at best.
5.01 ERA since that moment.
So worse than average.
5.01.
Not been good. And you need Dylan Cease in the worst way because if this team is lucky enough to go to the postseason, he's starting one of the 2 first games.
Oh, absolutely.
And going into a postseason with him pitching like this, not good. The Musgrove stuff, I can put that as a one-off. That was one really bad inning yesterday that started with a really bad play and right by Tatis. And other than that 1 inning, Joe is pitching fantastic. So to me, coming out of the weekend, it's Dylan Cease, got to be a lot better. They played sloppy. And we'll get to this next here. What the hell's going on at shortstop?
And also, I'm not letting Fernando Tatis Jr. off the hook for yesterday's 0 for 5,
That
3
game.
Ks, ground ball double play. You can't control the sun, but that is an awful game and an important one for the Padres. All right, what is going on at shortstop? The latest on Ha-Seong Kim's health. How does it impact Xander Bogaerts? Will he be playing this week potentially? Plus, we'll hear from Sean Lewis coming up at 3:30 on the Aztecs getting shut out at home by Oregon State as they look ahead to Cal this weekend. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right, we'll hear from Sean Lewis coming up at 3:30. We do have great giveaways for you here today. We have tickets to see Ha-Seong, okay? And I want to say this show is sold out, by the way. It is. North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. You take me to church. No, keep singing it. Too good.
No,
No. Do you know that song?
yes, I know the song.
It's a good song. Yeah, it's not brand new. You don't want to talk about Ha-Seong? Take me to church?
No, okay, anyway, I'd rather
Well,
talk
do you
about
want to, here's my point. Do you want to do Trainwreck Radio? This is a sold out show. We're going to do Ha-Seong tickets. Sold out show. Perfect. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. Ha-Seong Kim. Where art thou? Where has Ha-Seong Kim been? We were told when he went on the IL. I sound like Jim now. Like, we were told when he went on the IL. You know what? We might not even put him on, but since you can put him on for 10 days, we're just going to do it. He'll come off immediately. When was the last time? Can you please look this up for me? Someone look this up. When's the last time Ha-Seong Kim played?
So wait, hold on. You mean
The regular
the Padres notoriously bad for relaying accurate injury information to the media? Missed on this one?
It was August 18th. It was August 18th. We were told 10 days on August 18th. So that would have been August 28th. It's September 9th, and it's nowhere to be seen.
So Kevin this morning had an update. Said Padres called injury a jammed shoulder when he was hurt on June 18th, diving back into first base on a pickoff attempt. The extent of the damage is not clear. Shocker again. But he has been wearing a brace while doing on-field work, and he has had virtually no zip on his throws.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Mike Schilt post-game in like the corner of the post-game room because the alarms went off, talked to the media, and this is what he had to say about potentially moving Xander back to short and the extent of Ha-Seong Kim's injury.
We're going to play this thing by ear, I mean, kind of easing Bogey back into the possibility of that. I'm not saying it's a possibility, so I don't want to get it out there too much in the universe, but he was comfortable in a down game going over and getting his feet under him a little bit and seeing what it looked like, and he's willing to do it today. Like I said, we'll take our temperature as we move forward, but it was the opportunity in that down game to get Solano guaranteed extra couple 3 at-bats, turned out, and, get Bogey over there to see how he felt.
Where's Kim at as far as how close he might be to, coming back?
Not as close as we'd like. I mean, yesterday was not necessarily a setback, just wasn't a move forward. So we're still in the evaluation process, but that yesterday again was kind of a hit the wall a little bit and a little bit of a reset.
Did he try throwing yesterday?
He did. Just it's more. It's wouldn't say he didn't bounce back. It was just more of not being able to take that next step.
Next step being like to ramp it up to that next.
Right. Next step, cross a diamond, unfiltered, all the plays, ball in the hole, everything, to a little more aggression behind it.
And could that lead to, like you talked about a second ago, like different options shortstop?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're taking everything's pretty fluid right now between Kimmy and, what we're doing and what we're seeing. But, we good thing is we got options.
Do they? Because they've been playing essentially 2 men down. How? Because Kim hasn't played. Okay. You could argue the merits of what he's meant to them offensively, but you can't argue what he's meant to them defensively. Mm-hmm. And then in turn, Donovan Solano hasn't been playing because Ha-Seong Kim hasn't been in there. Xander Bogaerts hasn't moved over. So it's kind of like they've been without Solano and Kim to some extent. And now to rectify that, you could move Bogaerts over, move Cronenworth over. You could DH Solano.
Yeah. Like the experiment of Tyler Wade and Mason McCoy, it's done. It's over with. You can't afford to have them in the lineup. That lineup on Saturday night
with Tyler Wade in center
was awful. Yeah. Now I know that Merrill was out because he got injured, and this was it was a planned off day for Tatis. But I mean, the bottom 4 of your lineup was god awful, and I'm done with that. I'm over it. If Tuesday Xander's not at short, then what are we doing here? Like. And we'll hear from Xander in a moment, but yeah, the lineup now, if Kimmy's not coming back, and this potentially could be the last time we have seen Ha-Seong Kim in a Padres uniform, because if he can't have if he's not going to be able to throw across the diamond with any zip,
He could give it to one of his teammates.
He could, yeah. We could run it over there, John, and hand the ball to them.
Underhand to the
Yeah.
second baseman who could throw it.
Oh, I like that.
Like a double play.
Like the catcher in Major League
Right.
2.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
That's good.
No, like his value is defensive, so he better be able to give you
and
that
by the way,
value.
offensively, he's such a massive upgrade over what they were throwing
that's
out
true.
there.
That's true.
Like not even close.
Yep.
But if he's going to be out for the foreseeable future, and we learned today that Nick Ahmed would not be eligible
That
for
was
the postseason
fascinating.
roster.
Now, again, we were only beating around the bush there, but yeah, we were told on Twitter, I'm assuming it's accurate, that who even cares about the particulars? But essentially, based on him not being on the 40-man by a certain date, he wouldn't be eligible.
And my point is, if you're not going to, and I put this on Twitter, if you're not moving Xander to short, then like, why are you continuing to have McCoy and Wade when you have Nick Ahmed? You picked him up and he's in your system, but apparently like he can't be on the postseason roster.
Listen to this.
Unless
So this
you
is
DFA
according.
somebody.
This is Josh Porter on Twitter at JoePo2811. So reputable
Insider.
and he likes the show. So I like him. Just so you guys know, Ahmed can't be added to the postseason roster unless they put Kim on the 60-day IL, which would end his season.
Mm-hmm.
He can only be added for a long-term injury because he was not on the 40-man by September 1st. I thought he was, by the way, Josh. I thought they added him the day before, and I could be wrong. Also, to add Ahmed, you'd have to DFA someone. Well, that's fine. I can find someone to DFA. But you know what I mean? Like that's that's the least of our problems. But isn't that why they signed him, Jim? So he would be eligible for the postseason? I thought he came here truly on September 1st, but I think the deal was actually done August 31st. That's what I thought.
Kind of my understanding of like, why are you adding Nick Ahmed to this team if not for reinforcements because you feel like Kim's injury could be longer?
Is anyone have full? I mean, Josh may be right. He probably is.
So the day that they made this roster move, they signed Nick Ahmed to a minor league contract on September 1st.
Yeah, but that's the day they put it out, right? But is that the day they tweeted it?
Yeah.
But is it possible the deal was done the day before?
They would never.
But he's not on the 40-man right now?
He's just a minor league contract. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that.
then I think Josh is accurate.
So going forward for the foreseeable future, and we'll hear from Bogaerts after the break here. He has to be your shortstop. Full stop. End of discussion. I'm sorry. That's what has to happen. For the best lineup to be out there, Xander needs to move back to short.
Crony to second.
And you have a platoon at first of Arise and Solano because both those guys need to be in this lineup.
Yeah, like how long can you get away with the game of playing Tyler Wade and Mike McCoy?
No, it's over with.
What's his name?
Mason McCoy.
The point is
Mike McCoy.
You play that game too long.
It's a Monday.
You play that game too long and you're watching the postseason on your couch.
Exactly.
Not that this is the end all be all. Not
It's
that
not.
necessarily moving Xander and getting Donovan in there is going to be the difference. But I agree with you. Let's hear from Xander on the other side. I think he agrees with us. You need to play Donovan Solano. Plus, we'll hear from Sean Lewis, his weekly press conference with the media earlier today, reacting to a shutout loss at home against Oregon State, looking ahead to Cal this upcoming Saturday night in Berkeley. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Bank of America. Padres did not have a good weekend as they lost 2 of 3 to the Giants. Their lead for the 4 seed in the wild card is only at a half a game over Arizona and just 2 games over the Mets and the Braves. They have an off day today before a 2-game series up in Seattle versus the Mariners starting on Tuesday night. Aztecs, they got shut out by Oregon State this past Saturday night, 21-0. Next up, they'll travel to Cal to take on the Bears this Saturday night. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And tonight, the finish of week 1 versus the Jets and the 49ers, 5:20 kickoff there up in the Bay Area. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, NA, copyright 2024.
All right, so let's hear from Xander Bogaerts. We're going to hear from Sean Lewis as well. I think he puts things in perspective on Saturday night really well about how to deal with like fan expectations / frustration. We'll hear from Sean Lewis, and of course, you can hear this upcoming Saturday from Berkeley right here on San Diego Sports 760. Kickoff time 7:30. Pregame coverage at 5:30. But Xander Bogaerts went down the path that we've gone down, talking about Donovan Solano.
This is a very telling quote.
Okay, so let's hear from Xander. We don't have the question. We have his answer. It's regarding...
They started about him moving to short.
Thank you. About him playing some short. He got some ABs over at short yesterday. Take a listen to this.
Have a nice off day tomorrow, So see how that goes. I don't know. I'm happy I got a ball. I got a ground ball, so that was good.
Has anything changed? I mean, you worked so hard, obviously, before to get to second base. Now it looks like Kim might be out longer than they'd hoped. Has anything changed?
For me or for who you mean? The team?
How about for you? For you is my question.
I had a couple thoughts creeping in my head during the game, and I mean, kind of saw how the game kind of got some stuff going later on. Obviously, it sucks really much that Solano's out of the lineup. That really sucks. I mean, and he's still having an awesome year. He was having even a better one until he stopped playing, every day. So I don't know, man. And I did have some thoughts though. So I mean, I don't know, but I think it really sucks for Solano not being able to play every day, and also knowing what a quality at bat he gives you every at bat pretty much. So if we can get him in there, would be nice.
Tell us how you really feel.
Seriously.
And also it's like, hey, Mason and whatever the guy's name is.
Tyler Wade.
I've been all over the place this week.
It'd be funny if you refer to him that too as whatever that guy's name is.
He's saying it without saying it. He basically said what I said, which is we got a quality AB on the bench, and we're playing someone with a 500 on base plus slugging.
It's only fine if they keep winning. Like if they were winning,
absolutely.
Then you just deal with it. Now, I still would argue, like, why is Donovan Solano not getting as many at bats as he should? I mean, we're at the All-Star break. He had, I think, on that 9-1 road trip, 8-2 road trip. Or 7, I forget what the right.
Which trip? Out of the All-Star break?
Out of the All-Star
7-2.
7-2. I think he had like 3 at bats the entire trip. He didn't even play.
I know. He doesn't play a lot.
And as you heard from Bogey right there, it's pretty much what we've been saying. Donovan Solano is one of the best at bats on this team. Why is he on your bench all the time? I just don't get it. Like, yeah, he may strengthen your bench and is a good late game situational hitter, but like rarely do you see at all these, like, you never see a double switch anymore because you don't have to do that anymore because of the DH.
Right.
And so there's no point in just keeping him on your bench and not having him get at bats.
Yeah, right. You have him on your bench to pinch hit one time. Why not just give him 4 ABs?
Right.
And I have heard Schilt asked about this repeatedly over the last month. Now, they've been winning a lot of last month, so it hasn't been a big story. It has been a story, but he has sometimes pushed back and basically said, yeah, I'd love to give him ABs too, but how? When the answer has always been right in front of their face. And it's like they finally came to it's like someone finally was willing to have the hard conversation with Xander Bogaerts, but truthfully, it's the other way around. It's like they told Xander, you're the second baseman, and they don't want to go to him and say, you know what, just kidding. But since Xander is the one that's saying, you know what, I'm sitting here at second, I'm thinking to myself, well, hold on. If I move over, I can get Donovan Solano in there. That's what it sounds like to me. It's like, don't rock the boat. Everything's good vibes. The organization didn't want to go to Xander and be like, hey, we told you you're the second baseman, but now move back, because that is a little odd.
Did it feel like listening to him, there was in his voice, it sounded like he was nervous about going back to short?
Yes, absolutely. He's like, I was glad I got a ball. So yeah, I think that for him,
like, is it a mental thing? Like, what's
he
going on
took
here?
from February on and said, this is my new job. Like they said, it was the first point of spring training was Xander Bogaerts is moving. He's doing it for the team. Ha-Seong Kim's a better defensive shortstop than Xander Bogaerts. I'm going to do this for the team. February 1st on, you didn't see him do anything at short. And now, now we're in like prime time. Like there's 3 weeks left in the season, and he's going to move back to short. And he's got to be as good as he's been previously defensively to help carry this team and get Donovan Solano. I mean, it's a little bit of a tricky putt potentially. He's not the most brilliant fielder.
He's not. He's played really good defense at second.
I agree. He's a good fielder.
But also, and I don't know how it is, but just looking at it on paper here, it's not like you've been playing second base for the last like 6 seasons. You know, you started this year. You've been a shortstop for your entire career. It's not, I feel like, something that is a crazy ask.
It's not a crazy ask.
It's not, hey, Kim's struggling, can we put you back at short? No, it's
Kim's
hey,
not here.
Kim's not here, and Solano can't play short. You have played short, and you're our best option. We need you at shortstop because Mason McCoy and Tyler Wade, those guys just can't get consistent. They cannot be in the lineup anymore. I'm sorry. They cannot get at bats regularly in this lineup. Can't happen. Done. The only time they're out there is if they need to spell a guy for a day off. But truthfully, you got 17 games left.
And all these off days, they should truthfully be a defensive replacement if necessary. If a game dictates it, or speed,
or an injury
on the bases, or an injury. I mean, I'm with you. Xander Bogaerts has played a lot of short. Now, he's not a kid anymore, but he played short last year, and he's going to be at least serviceable. It's not like they're losing... they're not losing Ozzie Guillen. They're not losing Ozzie Smith. Yeah, I'm all over the place today. They're not losing Ozzie Smith defensively.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? So I don't see the issue with it. And I'd honestly be shocked if come Tuesday, Bogaerts wasn't at short and Donovan Solano wasn't DHing.
Well, you hear that from Xander, who's the leader of this team. I'm with you. If on Tuesday, and truthfully for the rest of the season, if you don't have Solano and Bogaerts in that lineup, then what are we doing here? I know this love affair that Schulte has with Tyler Wade and maybe Mason McCoy, but that experiment is over.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the home stretch now. Every game is so crucial, especially with what the standings look like on September 9th. You cannot afford to have Mason freaking McCoy and Tyler freaking Wade getting starts for you and getting 3 or 4 bats a game.
And this isn't honestly,
over Donovan Solano.
And this has
that
nothing
should be their
to
nicknames
do
for next year's Players Day.
Yeah, or maybe for like their fantasy football team. But this has nothing to do with Mason McCoy or Tyler Wade, by the way. You see what I'm saying? Like, this isn't like, hey, let's go attack Mason McCoy and Tyler Wade.
They're being put in this position.
Right. What it speaks to is that the Padres are going to need more right now, because this lineup has been at times, you look at it and it's not as fierce as it once was. Even with Fernando Tatis Jr. back, you look at this lineup and sometimes it leaves a lot to be desired. You can't ask Mason McCoy, who's 29 and has spent his entire career in the minor leagues, to just fill that role in rhythm and help guide you and be a productive hitter. You're asking so much.
He's had like 60 career bats in the big leagues.
Yeah, like and same thing with Tyler Wade. So now it's on the organization to figure it out. It's not on Mason McCoy.
No.
It's not on Tyler Wade. It's on the organization to put those guys in a favorable position. You know what that is? On the bench. And that's with all due respect. Fill a role as necessary, but when you're asked to do too much, this is the situation you sometimes get in.
Yeah. And if you had the lineup with Solano out there, wherever he's going to play, it doesn't matter. He can play first base. He can play third base. He can play second base. He can be your DH. Like,
DH, yeah.
He's a Swiss Army knife. You just got to have him in the lineup, because offensively, you need him. And defensively, I think you still can make it work. Do you lose a little bit defensively if you move Xander back to short? Maybe. I don't know. But you got to do it. You can't continue with what you've been doing. And that is on the organization. That is on
it's
Mike
a little
Schill.
late here. Like, you guys could have done this weeks ago.
But they were winning, so they probably thought to themselves, continue to do what we're doing.
I agree with that too.
And now you got a half-game lead on Arizona. You have a 2-game lead on the Mets and the Braves, and it's go time. You don't have an easy schedule. The good thing about their schedule is not who they play, it's the off days. And that is going to mean probably they're going to rely more on the bullpen because they're going to get more off days to their bullpen, which is great. But also it means that the regulars will get off days as well. So you can push these guys down the stretch here. And I think that from Tuesday on, you got to push. Everybody has to be out there. You can't have games like you did Saturday night where you give Tatis and you have him an off day. And I know Merrill was out because of an injury, but like, it's go time now. There's no more off days for anybody. Everybody's got to be out there for the remaining 17 games because you don't have any margin for error.
Oh, by the way, Seattle is throwing 2 of the better pitchers in the American League, George Kirby, Brian Wu. They've both been unbelievable. Kirby has had a very strong season. And then the starter on Wednesday, Brian Wu, 7-2 with a 2.36 ERA. And by the way, Seattle at home is 41-28. This is a very challenging series in Seattle beginning tomorrow night. We will hear from Sean Lewis on the other side. We do have giveaways for you here today as well. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
How fried is your brain?
Fried. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Niners play tonight, Jim.
Wait, what?
We'll be back tomorrow. No, Jennifer Lee Chan, NBC Sports Bay Area. She'll swing by 4:15.
My buddies are going to the game. Shout out Kia and Daniel.
Must be nice.
And they've been trying to get me to go to this game with them for the last month and a half.
Are you going to go?
I'm leaving here in about 20 minutes.
Cool. You're going to make it? Yeah.
You can make it?
I'm sure you'll be there in 90 minutes.
Yeah. So they're on their way to Levi's Stadium right now. And
mentally, you'll probably leave here in about 60 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're doing.
Mentally,
I
will be gone.
No, you got to carry the show. I'm actually leaving at 5:20.
John has to leave early for hashtag football.
I got to go.
Yeah. You got to leave. You got to go to Cal.
I got to go.
When are you leaving?
He's walking
for Cal?
Oh, yeah. To enjoy Friday's show. You're solo.
No, I'm just asking you. So
Friday.
Okay.
What time?
No, I'm leaving Thursday at 3:01.
No, I'm asking what time.
Come on, it's your job now to give us the complete Aztec travel itinerary.
Why do you ask, though? Are you trying to see if I can be on for an hour or something?
Because I'm trying to see
we're trying to get into a
what
day
your
in the
schedule
life
looks
of
like.
John Schaefer,
we'll
Aztec
show
play-by-play.
up at in the afternoon in Northern California.
Okay.
But I'm not bringing radio equipment. I mean, I'm the engine. Mike Usher's bringing radio
I
equipment.
never said that. I just wanted to know what time you were leaving. Jeez.
But if you want me on the show, I can hop on.
Yes, I will call you.
All right, call me. I'll hit do not disturb. No, I'll be going to Berkeley Friday, and the game is Saturday.
Remind me to ask you a question about this off the air, because
you don't do that to the listeners.
I have a question for you off the air about,
but the listeners want to hear it on the air.
No,
you can ask me.
No, who cares?
Okay, nobody cares. You're saying okay. It's not like a personal question. It's a who cares question.
Exactly. Let's get to the game.
All right, Sean Lewis. I want to hear from Sean Lewis and react, because this was an interesting question, because everyone knows what happens in any sport when you go into the year, you have a new coach and everyone's all excited, and then no team goes undefeated. And San Diego State's starting a true freshman, and they were shut out.
Some teams go undefeated, John.
You know what I mean. And then San Diego State. I mean, Boise State is still the Group of 5 front runner. They lost this past week. It was an amazing game, but you get the point. So obviously the Aztecs lose. They don't just lose. They were shut out at home by Oregon State. So this is Sean Lewis on what he has to say to frustrated fans after Saturday.
Again, regardless of whatever greatness that you're chasing, there's going to be adversities, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be trials, there's going to be tests that you have to pass through, right? And so we talked to the team yesterday about it, to where, hey, for everyone that's in the room, everyone that's invested in the way that we have, and the fans included, right, to where the greatness that we're looking for is on the other side of all this adversity and all these tests, right? And so we're going to put our chin to our chest, we're going to do the work, and we're going to do it the right way, and it's going to be something that our fan base can be proud of in the long haul.
It's also a little bit of thread in the needle. You come and talk about Aztec fast and then have a shutout. Does that make it more of a challenge to create optimism, but at the same time be patient with what you're trying to do?
I mean, regardless of what happened outside this building, no one's going to put more pressure and more stress or more expectations on what needs to happen than I'm going to put on myself, right? And so, again, the noise is out there. That's fine, right? If I wanted to make everyone happy and everyone was good, I'd go sell some ice cream and things would be all right, right? But I mean, there's some work that we got to work through that we can be better with. And again, I get it. I understand the frustrations, right? Everyone in this building is frustrated, especially offensively, with what we just did, and we're going to work to get that thing right. And again, Rome wasn't built in a day. Come along for the ride. It's going to be worth the ride, and things will be all right.
So again, I think a lot of what has played out the first 2 weeks, Jim, is quasi-predictable. People would have said after week 1, oh, what about Aztec Fast? I know they scored 45 points, but they scored 42 in the second half. And it wasn't an FBS team, it was an FCS team. All right, that was predictable. We said it. Guess what? Oregon State was a favorite. San Diego State, clearly, Sean Lewis said it post-game. I mean, it wasn't ideal, obviously, getting shut out 21-0, but it's not the most shocking result that Oregon State won this game in week 2. So that's kind of where we are looking ahead at week 3. I kind of appreciated with what Sean Lewis had to say about it here today at his weekly media availability.
So the one thing about anything in life, patience is a lot of people's, they're not strong suits for a lot of people. I'm not patient.
Yep.
I am not a patient person at all. I want things right now. And I do feel like with this Aztec program, with having the down years that they've had the last couple seasons and coming off a 4-8 year, which was not good. You're in a new stadium. This is only his 3rd year.
Mm-hmm.
You brought in a new offensive minded coach who has been preaching since day one. His mindset and philosophy is of Aztec fast and offense, quarterback, offense. And for the people out there that aren't patient, Saturday was not fun at all because getting shut out, I know Oregon State's a good team, but you get shut out after as much as you've preached offense, that to me is going to turn a lot of people off, whether it's good or bad. That's just what it is. It's just how it is. That's going to turn a lot of people off. This guy is the same thing we've seen the last 4 years. This guy, the team can't score. Okay. If you take a step back, you do realize that you have a true freshman quarterback. You have all new players. That's probably why this team has a million penalties a game, because they have not played together enough to have this cohesion that you need to have. And if you cut down on the penalties and you don't have the stupid holding calls all the time, then maybe you could get some things going. But Saturday night, I was there and I stayed for pretty much the entire game. They had opportunities that they couldn't capitalize on, and they made too many mistakes. That's been pretty much a theme of the first 2 games, is too many penalties, and they're just missing on certain plays, like whether it be Danny O'Neal overthrowing a player or Danny O'Neal missing a Marcus Cooper in the flat, which could have gone for a touchdown, like holding on big runs. Defenses looked great. The offense, they're just too many mistakes.
Let me say, I think this is a reasonable comp. It's not perfect, but a lot of people have been saying this about San Diego State, and different sports, football and basketball, different coaches. Steve Fisher when he got here to Sean Lewis when he got here. So let me just put that out there. But we quickly forget there's some similarities too. When Steve Fisher got here, Viejas Arena was brand new. It wasn't filled night in and night out, and it was a slow build. There was a build to San Diego State basketball. I think we forget that today when we see this team in the national championship game, in the Sweet 16, 4 Sweet 16 since 2010. Steve Fisher's first year, they were 0-14 in the Mountain West. That's hard to imagine. But, and Sean Lewis has said this, we'll see if it plays out like this. It's about building it the right way. It's a new era. We've got the portal. We've got NIL. It's different. And it's different sports, football and basketball. Steve Fisher's first 2 years, 5-23, 14-14. The third year, they went 21-12, and they were in the NCAA tournament. So the point is, now it's a different world. Social media didn't exist like it did. Social media 25 years ago was different than it is today. Steve Fisher, who had accomplished what he had accomplished in Michigan, obviously is a little bit of a different comp as well. I'm just saying, if you expected it all from day one, that was an unreasonable expectation. I've said that all offseason, and I knew this would be the reaction. And when the second they went with the true freshman quarterback, what were we all thinking?
Yeah, it's gonna take some time here, and it's gonna look ugly, and hopefully it gets better as the weeks go on.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And if you get to the end of the season and you're kind of stuck in neutral, then yeah, you got to change some things with your offense and your quarterback, and I still believe in Sean Lewis. I do.
Yeah, I mean, it's been and Danny O'Neal. I think Danny O'Neal has shown promise, considering he's a true freshman quarterback.
Yeah,
I think he's shown a lot. But again, if you were looking for a 5th-year signal caller to step into an offense already built to score, that's a different conversation.
And truthfully, San Diego State is a basketball school. And it's
turned
into a basketball school.
That's an interesting. We can have that conversation.
I think it's turned into a basketball school.
But when you say that, what do you?
And it's been a basketball school for the last 20 plus years.
But what is that? It's a basketball school. Therefore, like, what's the point? It's a basketball school, period, or it's a basketball school. So
it's a basketball school. So I feel like San Diego State football now, with the expanded playoffs, they have this opportunity, but they have to have a special season, I feel like, for people to maybe start to flip. And even if they do, it's, in my opinion, it's still going to be a little difficult.
I'm going to make an argument to counter that on the other side, plus a huge inactive tonight for San Francisco. That's next on Jon and Jim.
Wait, what?
All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and it is the best time of the year. The NFL is back. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can win 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats.
Yeah, we've been playing Underdog Fantasy for a long time. We love it, picking higher or lower on our favorite players. Unfortunately, tonight, I cannot pick higher or lower on Christian McCaffrey, who is out. That is a huge loss for the Niners, but there's more players to play with.
Thanks for ruining my tease. You can go to their mobile app or underdogfantasy.com, sign up with promo code Jon and Jim. That's JONANDJIM, and Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick of entry, plus a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code JONANDJIM to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer.
Yeah, you must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, this update is brought to you by Bank of America. I'm ruining your tease, John. Breaking news in the NFL. Chris McCaffrey has been ruled out tonight for the 49ers with a calf injury. Season's over. Padres, they lost 2-3 to the Giants over the weekend. They have an off day today before they start a 2-game series versus the Seattle Mariners on Tuesday. San Diego State football coming off their loss against Oregon State this past Saturday, take on Cal this upcoming Saturday. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America NA, copyright 2024.
So, what to make of the weekend out at Petco? The Padres still lead the wild card race, and it's up to Seattle for a pair versus the Mariners. Oregon State slows down Aztec Fast at Snapdragon. What has to happen before the trip up to Berkeley? And NFL Week 1 ends tonight. We break down a full weekend with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim. The Niners season over on the September 9th. We'll react to that.
Yeah, it's over.
Actually, you know what? Here's the thing. I was going to pretend as if we're talking to Jennifer Lee Chan live, but we pre-recorded our conversation with her for 4:15, and we asked about Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And she didn't give a definitive. I don't think she was. Did she say he's a go?
Did you ask?
I asked it. Did she say he was a go?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not.
We might need to take that out, actually. I will have to figure that out. So Christian McCaffrey, who's been dealing with an ankle Achilles, right? Both an ankle and a calf and an Achilles, is out for week 1. Enjoy the 7th seed. Enjoy trying to squeak in as the 7th seed.
And Friday, he said that he was going to be good to go. What the hell?
Yeah, what did happen? That's an interesting storyline.
He's channeling his inner Russell Wilson.
Here's my theory. Ready?
Is that a big loss?
Number 1, the Madden curse strikes again. Number 2, I picked him number 1 overall in my fantasy league, so the Jim curse strikes again.
You won't let me get mad at the Robert Suarez introduction, but it's the Madden curse?
That's a real thing.
Okay.
And number 3, they're just never going to win a Super Bowl in my lifetime.
I agree with that. Yeah. I do agree with that. All right, we'll react to that. We have the wrap coming up. Christian McCaffrey is out. Don't worry, Jordan Mason will start. Everything's fine. Jordan Mason, he's going to go for 212 and 2 touchdowns. Now, Jim said on the way out, I mean, I don't know if it's a controversial statement, that San Diego State is a basketball school. Yeah, they've had a lot of success in basketball. If that's the point, I would never argue that point in a million years. But I think San Diego State is also a football school and fully capable of being one. And I think that's evidenced by 2 things. Actually, more than that, one of which is the vote that got Snapdragon Stadium over the finish line. I thought that was significant. B is they've won at a high level here over the last 10 or 15 years. Yes, they've dipped. Obviously, last year they went 4-8. They've dipped, but there have been nights. We went to the Q, man, me and you. I was there for Stanford. I've been there for Boise. I've seen 40,000 people to Q. Other people have seen 50,000+ people to Q for San Diego State football. So they weren't good last year. Therefore, you're not going to get 35,000 people in the building. We've had that conversation a lot. San Diego State basketball, when they weren't good, when Steve Fisher got here, they were not drawing 12,414. When they got good, it took off. That's just my point. When you win, this happens a lot, not always. We've talked about this with Major League Baseball, but when you win, you will get the pull. You'll get the backing of your supporters. In San Diego State football, still people need to be convinced, and that's fair. They went 4-8 last year. They got a first-year head coach, but I don't think just because basketball's been really good, therefore means that it can't be a football school as well.
Look, they got to win, and they have to win at a high level.
Yeah, that's not easy to do.
I know it's not easy to do.
Just like basketball, it's not easy to win at that level. They've just done it.
They have done it, and it's easier in basketball, even if you don't win a high level in the regular season, to make a run in March Madness.
That point's fair.
And that right there is like the big thing that needs to happen for the San Diego State football program. And the only way to do that is win at a high level
I got
and
you.
Get into the playoffs somehow. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a lot of things are against him. One, still the Mountain West Conference, the schedule, like the games. It's just, I mean, who wants to go watch Air Force on a Friday night? Nobody.
I disagree, because wouldn't people say the same thing with basketball? Well, you're telling me that people would prefer to watch Air Force basketball? I mean,
but what's the thing about basketball is they've created and that's what San Diego State would need to do football wise. They need to create such a good team where they have players that people know about and that are really good. And then, you have a Boise State with Ashton Genty. You go watch Boise State because of Ashton Genty. You got to have that here in San Diego.
They just
if you don't,
win at a high level. Boise just wins at a high level, and they've been supported like they win.
And
at a high
they made
level.
it all the way back in the early 2000s. They made that Fiesta Bowl, and it's carried their program ever since.
Agreed. Completely agree. But I don't think playing Air Force. Guess what? Boise State plays Air Force.
Okay.
They play San Jose State,
and they have. I just said they have Ashton Genty, who is.
But they didn't have Ashton Genty 2 years ago.
But and then what I'm saying is their run in the early 2000s has carried that program ever since.
No, I agree with that.
And San Diego State football hasn't had that or even close to that in the last 20 plus years.
Well, they haven't had that team. They haven't had that breakthrough New Year's Six game. They haven't been to New Year's Six game, to your point. Boise State, I think, has been in 2. There was one that they lost. There was the Oklahoma game that they won. No, there's no doubt. Boise's been very successful in football. I'm not arguing that at all. I'm just kind of arguing the point of, well, it's not sexy to play Air Force or San Jose State. And I'm thinking, well, they play those teams in basketball too. And those teams haven't been good in basketball. Their opponents, I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they win, and they consistently beat those teams at a high level. That's been enough for people to turn out.
And the basketball team has created a great atmosphere.
It's a great
at
atmosphere.
Vegas
It's a great atmosphere.
with the show and consistently winning and big and being ranked.
Yeah.
And
but again, there was an 0-14 Mountain West team when Steve Fisher got here.
Right.
So that did exist.
And it's also, like I said, it's been different for both sports because basketball, you had a chance. Football, you never had a chance.
No, it's fair. It seems like in basketball, you're always a team away from. You can always make a run.
Yeah,
we've watched San Diego State make a run. We've seen Gonzaga make runs. We've seen 15 seeds.
And there's different like standard. I mean, not standards, but different things you can accomplish in basketball that you can't in football.
That's true. It's more of a closed, gated system
like
in college football.
Basketball, you make consecutive Sweet 16s. Like they just did, that's a huge accomplishment. You make a Final Four run, oh my God. You make the national championship game, oh boy. Football, like we made the Cheez-Its Bowl. Like it doesn't have the same thing. It doesn't have the same ring to it. You'd be like, oh, we just made this. We made the semifinals in the college football playoff. Maybe that could do it. But like that.
Oh, that maybe. I mean, that would definitely do it.
That also is like such a tough road.
It's a very tough road.
It's way harder than going to Sweet 16 in college basketball.
I agree, but let me just say this, and we can move on to the calls. That the last time, here are Boise's last 5 bowls, okay? LA Bowl, Frisco Bowl, Vegas Bowl, Cactus Bowl, Poinsettia Bowl. Their last Fiesta Bowl was 2014. Like,
still, that's what is that? 9 years ago? 10 years ago?
10 years ago.
Okay, that was 10 years ago. When's the last time the Padres? When's the last time the Aztecs made the Fiesta Bowl?
They haven't. But the point is but the point also is when basketball was basketball before Coach Fisher and Coach Dutcher. When was the last time they made the NCAA tournament? Exactly.
Right.
When was the last time they'd won a tournament game? Let me answer it. Never.
But again,
you
have those opportunities in basketball that you don't have in football. And if in football you have to kind of break through at such a high level that they haven't been able to do, that Boise has.
Does that mean that every Group of 5 football program that hasn't played in a New Year's Six bowl game is a basketball school?
No, because if the basketball program is not successful, then
they're just not a school.
They just have sports.
All right, let's go to the phones. 844-767-4760 or 844-570-1360.
Screw it.
Turn on 1360 right now.
McCaffrey's out.
13. If you don't want this talk, they're getting ready for the debate tomorrow on 1360 right now. Let's start with Michael. Let's start with Michael on line 6. Michael, you're on with Jon and Jim.
Hi, Jon, Jim, and Brent. How you guys all doing?
What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm okay.
Hey, doing great. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Saturday night, I was watching the Aztecs football game, and I'll tell you what, this Aztec fast, I didn't see it. I just did not see it. I don't know where all these elite wide receivers were. Like Marcus Cooper was getting bottled up. I'll tell you what, we looked a lot faster back in 2016 to 18 when we had Pumphrey, Penny, and Chapman as our quarterback. We were faster then.
Listen, and I appreciate you, Michael. You're a loyal listener and an Aztec fan. I know that. And I understand that. And that's why Sean Lewis reacted the way he did to fan frustration. I think it's reasonable to feel that way. But we're 2 games into a tenure. Is also there are 2 sides of that coin. You can be frustrated. You're completely obligated, or that's completely your right to have that opinion. And I could have the opinion of, well, it's 2 games.
And it goes to the point of people don't have patience.
No doubt. And this is going to be easy this week. In Berkeley, they're 2-0. They just beat Auburn on the Plains. This thing is not going to be easy.
Yeah. And I understand it. Like, this program's not been good for the last couple of years, and it doesn't feel like the first 2 games are much different other than what you saw in the second half versus Texas A&M Commerce 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that standpoint, yeah, fans are be like, I thought we were promised something new. I thought this was going to be different. And seeing the same kind of things that you've seen the last couple of years, I can understand it, but it's also like, hey guys, this is going to take time. This is not going to be an overnight success with the climate of college football and NIL. Like, it just makes things more difficult, especially for a program that has not been good the last couple of years. And, with a whole new coaching staff and especially a true freshman at quarterback makes things difficult if you don't have like a really good roster around him.
Let's go to Dave on line 5. Dave, you're on with Jon and Jim. Thanks for the patience and calling in.
Well, thanks again for having me here, guys. I wish I had more time to debate the last topic with you, but because both of you are a little bit right and both of you are a little bit wrong, because you've not been here as long as most of us have. And so there's a lot of things you're leaving out, but we'll talk about that another time. Let's go over to Coach Lou real quick. I get what Coach is saying. He's absolutely right. It's going to take time. But what I think the people are starting to chirp about is the fact that, as I said last week, you got to be competent first, which means you've got to give your kids a chance to run a system that they're capable of at this point in time, meaning get into the damn huddle, slow it down just a little bit. You can pick and choose your Aztec fast when it's appropriate. But right now, clearly, these kids are struggling with this. Slow it down, give them a chance. They almost pulled it off. If Danny gets into that end zone, which was a terrible call, but that's another story for another time. He gets into that end zone, it's a different game. The defense has been wonderful.
Yeah.
So let's talk
defense
about
has been really
too.
good. Yeah. No, yeah. I'm with you, Dave. I mean,
so you see
listen, appreciate the call. Defense has been very good. Everyone's gonna have their 2 cents, as they should. That makes you a fan. You should. Honestly, it's way better for people to be upset than it is for people not to have a reaction.
Right.
It's way better. Like, it's completely different. So, I understand the frustration. I do.
And look, if this is what this team looks like in a year, then yeah, maybe be like, okay, what's going on? But as of right now, 2 games in, you do have to give it time, even though it is very difficult to do.
If you would have asked people in the offseason, if you would have asked prognosticators what would their record be through 3 games, they would tell you, well, they'll beat Texas A&M Commerce, they'll be an underdog against Oregon State at home, and they'll be an underdog against Cal on the road. That's what they would tell you.
1 and 2, yeah.
And that's now, that doesn't mean they can't beat Cal. We'll see how they play. I think 2 things could happen, and we'll take a timeout. And we'll hear from Jennifer Lee Chan on the Niners on the other side. I think that coming off Cal's win, we'll see how they get up for this game, coming off a huge win against Auburn. And then let's see how San Diego State responds to the way that they failed to perform offensively, obviously, on Saturday night against Oregon State. Jennifer Lee Chan, NBC Sports Area, on tonight, Niners and Jets, Monday Night Football. She'll join us next on Jon and Jim. All right, Jon and Jim back with you. We do have a number of giveaways for you between now and 6 p.m. We have Hosier tickets to give away. That's a sold-out show. We'll do that for Trainwreck Radio later this hour. We have John Party tickets. We have Glass Animals tickets to give away. We'll do that in the 5 o'clock hour. So Christian McCaffrey is out. I don't know if you've heard that, but he's out. Not for the year, we don't think, but at least for tonight.
Probably out for the year.
Okay, so we caught up with Jennifer Lee Chan, who covers the Niners. She's like a Niners beat reporter for NBC Sports Bay Area. Now, this is from 2 hours ago, and you're going to hear in this conversation, I think she says McCaffrey's going to go, but this is pre-recorded.
Because he said Friday.
Because he said he was going to go.
I have no concerns about playing Monday night.
Exactly. So let's hear from Jennifer Lee Chan. I started the conversation, this is queued up, right, to her first answer. I started the conversation asking about her expectations for how much Brandon Ayuk is going to be used tonight.
I think Brandon Ayuk will not necessarily be on a pitch count, but I mean, Kyle Shanahan is always about the hot hand. So if he's doing really well and he's on the same page with Brock Purdy in the offense quickly, I expect him to be out there. I mean, he's been conditioning really well. He had extra practice throwing and pass catching sessions with Brock Purdy over the week. So, I mean, after every practice, those two are working together. So they have both said they felt like they're on the same page. So I expect that to happen on the field. And if it does for quite a while, then they'll be out there for even longer.
Jennifer, did the contract dispute create any type of rift between Ayuk and the organization at all?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that, once all of it's said and done, I think everybody goes back to their normal being, and he seemed happy when he's been on the field. So I did watch him at practice this week, and he does seem like he's happy, and he's kind of gotten back into the swing of things very quickly. George Kittle said Richard Sherman ages ago gave him the reference that contract negotiations are kind of like braces. They're awful when you have them, but when they're off, you forget that you even had them, and everything's great.
Jennifer Lee Chan with us right now, San Diego Sports 760, Jon and Jim. As we get ready for the opener tonight, how much pressure do you see on Kyle Shanahan to get over the hump this year?
Yeah, I think there's pressure every year. I don't think this year is any different than any other. Yes, they do have a lot of guys that are kind of coming towards the twilight of their career, but honestly, I think, there's pressure every year. He is solid in his contract. He's got a long future with the 49ers, but I think there's always pressure to win, and to be so close just makes it even more challenging. But I think he's always out there to win. I mean, it just hasn't been, everything going at all, together at the same time to make that happen. Little mistakes here and there have occurred, especially, they are the only team that had a lead in the fourth quarter and again, a lead in overtime and still lost the Super Bowl. So, I mean, just so close. But I think, if everybody plays with a minimum of mistakes, they'll be back in the postseason like they have in the past.
With Brock Purdy's contract, coming up this offseason, he's going to get paid a lot of money, Jennifer, as you know. Do you feel like this is kind of the last ride with this core because we don't know the future of this core of the team because Brock Purdy will get paid this offseason?
I think, the 49ers are really good at planning ahead for their future, and they have the most cap space right now in the NFL. And so that's going to roll over. So they've been planning. Every contract they've done for the past few years has been in preparation for Brock Purdy getting a major, groundbreaking contract, which he will get in 2025. So they're really good at kind of backloading contracts. Deebo Samuel just went through a restructuring of his deal, which gives him money through a signing bonus, and then the cap hit goes, further out until 2027, I believe. So all of those little moves that they do really help them plan for their future. And I think, there's going to be a few hits on the defense that are going to be a little bit difficult, but they've got a lot of young players that are coming up. Now, you're the guys that all the household names like George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, those guys are all going to be under contract for quite some time. But guys like, Dre Greenlaw is up for an extension, Talanoa Hufanga, Charvarius Ward and Diamador Lenore, those guys, I don't think they're going to be able to keep all of those guys, but on the offense, it looks pretty solid. But on the defense, they're going to have to count on those young guys that they brought in to really step up next year.
Jennifer Lee Chan, NBC Sports Bay Area, with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, ahead of Monday Night Football between the Niners and the Jets. And speaking of tonight, what's the health status of Christian McCaffrey, who's been dealing with injuries throughout camp?
Yeah, he's been out with a calf/Achilles injury. It's a strain, but he looked really solid from what we could see during pre-practice stuff. We're only allowed to see the first 4 periods of practice. the individual drills, he looked really good. So I would expect him to be out in the field, but also JP Mason has done a really good job during training camp. So I expect him to be out there if Christian McCaffrey feels any type of issue at all. I think that they're going to work in tandem, and this might be a good thing for Christian McCaffrey. A few less reps. He was out there for so much in 2023. And so I know they want to balance it out a little bit more, not make him, the total bell cow of the entire offense, but I think they want to use him a lot, but also be careful with him.
The last couple of years, there's no other team besides the Niners have had crushing, heartbreaking losses. NFC title game, the Super Bowl, NFC title game before that against the Rams. Do you feel at all by watching camp and talking to players that there could be a little bit of a down year because they've gone through so much heartbreak, or is the team not worried about that and they're moving forward? And do you feel any sense of I guess letdown this year?
I think there always is letdown, but once they start playing again, once they came back in a training camp, I think there's definitely this kind of quiet confidence that this group has. We've kind of talked about it during the preseason. There haven't been any fights during camp. It's been kind of weird with the contract negotiations being a slight distraction, but really there is this kind of quiet focus of this group. So they're mature. They've been through this before. I think they know what they have to do to get back to the big game, and I think they're really focused on doing it.
Last one from me, Jennifer. When you look at tonight specifically, if I said who's it quote unquote bigger for, Jets with Aaron Rodgers back or the Niners coming off another Super Bowl appearance, how do you look at this game in terms of who does it matter more for specifically tonight?
Oh, I think for the 49ers to get off on a good start, they've got to, start the season quick, which is what they've talked about in the past. That's what they did last year. I think before, when they've started out slow, then every game towards the end of the season is even more important. Every game is important because they just don't have that many. But I think getting a good start is really important for their momentum going forward and to prove to themselves that, Brandon Ayuk holding out, Trent Williams holding out, that stuff doesn't matter. They can still pull it together and have a great season. So I think it's more important to the 49ers to get really rolling quickly.
Niners and Jets coming up tonight at 5:20, Monday Night Football from the Bay. Jennifer Lee Chan, NBC Sports Bay Area, thank you for doing it. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
All right, so McCaffrey's not playing. Again, that was pre-recorded. So Christian McCaffrey is out. Is there any line movement in this Niners game? Is that where the point?
The over-under was 43.5, and it's moved down to 41.
Wow. And the betting line was what? They were favored by 4.5 or 5.5 points?
They're favored Jets by 4 now. Or no, Niners by 4.
By 4. Yeah.
Okay. I see it 3.5 now.
So it's moved a point. Because it was about 4.5. We talked about last week. It was 4.5. It's moved a point. Over-under's coming down. Christian McCaffrey out with an Achilles and calf here tonight. We'll react to that on the other side.
Is that kind of ironic considering who he's playing tonight?
Stop it, Brent.
No, that's okay. Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, if Christian McCaffrey tears his ACL, it's fine.
It's fine. All right, we haven't gotten to the wrap, have we?
No, we have not.
All right, we'll do the wrap on the other side. We've got Trainwreck Radio for a chance to win Hosier tickets coming up this hour as well. It's Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Bank of America. Final game of week 1 tonight, 5:20 kickoff, Jets and Niners up in the Bay Area. Big news in that game is Christian McCaffrey has been ruled out with a calf injury. Padres, they have an off day today before they start a 2-game series up in Seattle against the Mariners on Tuesday night. And the Aztecs, after getting shut out by Oregon State at home this past Saturday, will take on Cal up in the Bay. That game will happen on Saturday night. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, N.A., copyright 2024.
All right, we are going to do Trademark Radio coming up in about 15 minutes. Your chance to win a pair of sold-out tickets to Hosier. North Island Credit Union Saturday, September 14th. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. We're less than an hour out from Niners Jets Monday Night Football. We're about 26 hours out from the Padres returning to the field against the Seattle Mariners. So we'll cover both of those over the next 90 minutes here on Jon and Jim. We have not yet gotten to the wrap, so let's do it now.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Who's going to be riding the pine first, Deshaun Watson or Daniel Jones?
Dude, Deshaun Watson yesterday was god-awful. Daniel Jones was really bad as well, but Deshaun Watson to me was worse. And that's saying something because of how bad Daniel Jones is and was. To me, it's Deshaun Watson. At least the Browns have a pretty decent defense, and they have some playmakers. The Giants are on the clock. They suck. They're rebuild. They're horrible. But there's some
just like their jerseys yesterday.
Oh, those are so bad. The Browns have like legitimate aspirations of going back to the postseason again. So, like, to me, Deshaun Watson, it's done.
Is the Deshaun Watson trade about as bad as it gets in the NFL?
The worst trade in the NFL.
So
ever.
Think about that. To invest like that and then consider another option makes your franchise look like a complete and utter debacle, which they basically have been for the last 25 plus years. They'll both be benched at some point. I don't know when. I'm with you. I think because the Browns can win, maybe you stick with Watson longer, but because the Giants aren't going to win, maybe you go to an alternate earlier. I don't know.
I don't think it helps either that you go down to Tampa and they're Baker Mayfield, the guy that you guys said sucked and can't play in this league, is playing adequate quarterback down in Tampa.
Who would you rather have, Baker Mayfield or Deshaun Watson? That's the easiest answer in the world.
Baker Mayfield.
He threw 4 touchdowns.
I know. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's crazy. Next question.
Have we seen the last of Ha-Seong Kim?
I mean, potentially, if he's not even close to returning and he has no zip on his throws, we're at September 9th. We got 17 games left in the regular season. I mean, I don't want to say we've seen the last of Ha-Seong Kim, but as of right now, it's not looking good.
I'll say no. I'll say he returns. You know, in baseball timeline, 17 games is actually a decent amount. So let's say he misses another week and a half. That would still give him a week and a half to return. I don't know how long he's going to be out. I have no idea if he's going to return or not. But can you imagine? You're right. There's a possibility where he gets hurt in August and then he never plays again for the Padres because he's a free agent, essentially. He's got an option after this year. I think he'll return. I can't confirm it. I wish I could. But I think he'll return. That'd be my guess. Next question.
What did you guys think of Tom Brady's broadcast debut?
I thought it was decent. Like, I didn't think he sounded horrible. I didn't think he sounded great. I think he just kind of was average. And it's Tom Brady, so he can sound average. He's going to be on there. Just don't be as bad as Drew Brees was. Drew Brees was awful. Tom, here's the thing. Tom just needs to have his more personality. Like, it was a very robotic play-by-play or color commentary call.
I just think he's buttoned up. He's always been very PC. When you listen to him, remember the Monday Night Football halftime interviews with what's that guy's name?
Jim Gray.
With Jim Gray. He's just so
his BFF.
Buttoned up. He'll never say anything
let loose, man.
Controversial. He's never opinionated. He just I don't know. It's a little too in a box. That's only one game. He can absolutely get better. He's doing the Super Bowl this year because Fox has the Super Bowl. And to your point, Tom Brady alone brings viewers to televisions. It's Tom Brady, but if you're expecting something spectacular or completely original or unbelievable, I just don't know if you're going to get that with Tom Brady.
And of course, Tony Romo and Greg Olson are better than him because they've been in the booth
Well,
for
they've been doing it longer,
longer.
yeah. But they might remain better than him. I just don't know what his ceiling is, I guess is my point.
I thought he was okay. My only thing was there was times where I thought they should have cut him off to where he would kind of start to tell a story, and then it's like you would think the story's done, and then he would just kind of stop for a second, and then he would just keep going. And I forget who's his play-by-play guy.
Kevin Burkhardt.
Burkhardt should have just stopped him right there and went into the action to where they didn't even call like 2 plays once because Tom was still telling the story.
Again, it's game one. I get the nerves. Like it's national TV on Fox. You spent 20 years playing in the NFL. And
Nerves,
boom,
he's
here
got
we
7
are.
Super Bowls.
Dallas Cowboys. I mean, I get it. And new partner, new everything. I mean, it's different. So I'm not going to completely vilify him. I just don't know what his ceiling is. I don't ever think he'll be the best as a color analyst, like you would say he's the best as a football player. I just don't see it. Off one game, I think I can say that.
He was fine.
Yeah, it was fine, but it wasn't spectacular. Next question.
Are you guys concerned about Dylan Cease?
Yes, I am. His last 6 starts have all been subpar, including Saturday, where he gave up 4 runs to the Giants. Did go 6 innings, but it's still, I mean, his lines from his last 6 outings: 6 innings, 4 runs; 5 innings, 3 runs; 4 1/3, 4 runs; 6 1/3, 3 runs; 5 2/3, 3 runs; 5 innings, 5 runs.
Yeah,
it's definitely far from the 7 innings, 3 runs; 6 innings, no runs; 7 innings, no runs; no hitter, and then 5 2/3, 1 run. Like, you're not close to that.
Yeah, I mean, concern is probably the right word. I feel like this year he's had 4 stretches. Good, bad, good, bad. Like, that's just my simple way of putting it. I remember early he was good. Then I remember he was down. Then he had that remarkable stretch that included a no-hitter. I would call that good. Now he's had these last handful of starts. I would call it bad. It just feels like it's been not a lot of in between. It's, for me, good, bad, good, bad. Hopefully he can bounce back with a good when it really matters, which is now. It's not just October. You got to get there. It matters now. To be staked to a 2-0 lead against the San Francisco Giants at home, Aces should win that game. You score on Webb. You got to win that game, and they didn't.
It's a situation where you're getting to the point where, yeah, obviously getting a postseason is the number one thing, but then thinking about the 2 steps ahead where you're like, okay, who's going to start in the postseason for us? What's the rotation? What will that look like? First things first, get to the postseason. And they're going to be fighting their ass off probably to the end of the year to do that. But we know Dylan Cease will be starting one of the first 2 games. And for me, if he's not pitching well, doesn't bring a lot of confidence going into a postseason series with potentially Dylan Cease starting game 1.
I would agree with that. I mean, I'm thinking about this weekend. I saw a lot of home runs. I don't know if it has to do with the weather, but Cease is allowed home runs. The number 9 hitter for the Giants is a good young prospect. Had a couple of home runs Saturday night. Then yesterday, Joe Musgrove, okay, it's an inning. And I'm with you. Joe Musgrove's throwing it well. Joe right now gets the benefit of the doubt over Dylan Cease. Just right now. I think for the season, Cease has been a workhorse. There's been a lot of good in there. But I'll excuse Joe's 4th inning over what Dylan Cease has done the last 5 or 6 times out.
Like, I know we've had this conversation before, and for me, at this moment in time, your best pitcher is Michael King. And
he has been.
Probably not even close. And at this moment in time, he's got to pitch either game 1 or game 2 for you. If you get into if you host here at Petco Park, to me, Michael King is pitching game 1 or 2. If you want to go Dylan Cease game 1, okay, but that means King has got to start game 2 for me. And then Joe's got to start game 3. Now we're probably looking a little ahead here, but it's a conversation that's going to be difficult if Dylan Cease is not pitching like Dylan Cease.
Well, okay, so what What is the realistic option? Let's say Cease heads into the postseason pitching like this, 5 ERA over his last 9 starts. And let's say King is pitching like this, which is a 3 ERA. Let's say Joe, I mean, where do you, Dylan Cease isn't starting one of the first 2 games. Is that even a realistic possibility is my point? Even if he's quasi-average or even average, what's he going to start game 3? Then it's a clinching game, potentially. I think he'll find his way into one of those first 2 games.
For me, I would say Dylan Cease in one of the first 2 games, and then Michael King, and I would have Joe slated for game 3. Because if they don't get to a game 3, and so they do win the first 2 games, then Joe's your game 1 starter in the division round. That's pretty decent. And or you Darvish should be then your game 1 starter in the division round if you get past the wild card round, which is also pretty damn good. Dylan Cease would probably line up for game 2.
Yeah, but anything past that first round, I can't worry about.
I can't worry about it either. You're right.
I can't worry about that. I think Dylan Cease pitches one of the first 2 games of the postseason. I'd be surprised otherwise.
It's just not great that he's pitching like this because it doesn't give you much confidence. You have Dylan Cease out there for game 1 coming off of a September where he had a 5 ERA potentially. Like,
yeah,
I don't know about it's tough.
All right, call right now. We're going to do Trainwreck Radio, which means call right now if you want a chance to win 2 free tickets to a sold-out concert, Hosier, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, Saturday, September 14th. That is a week away, right? Just over a week away. No, less than a week away. It's Saturday. I get my days confused.
Okay.
If you want tickets to see Hosier, you need to call right now. 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. First 2 callers will be contestants for Trainwreck Radio. Sold out show this Saturday at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. One more time, pick up the phone and call right now. 877-767-4760. That's next. All right, Jon and Jim back with you. We'll play Trainwreck Radio momentarily. Jim's getting ready for his Niners, taking on the Jets tonight at 5:20 without Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, season's over.
You look.
Yo, you're still gonna watch?
Are you gonna watch?
Maybe.
Not gonna go watch Avatar 3?
Are you excited for whoever is the tailback tonight? Who is it?
It just
who's the? Do you know the running back?
I saw this coming. Like I predicted this.
Okay, can you answer the question? Who is the Niners starting running back without looking at anything right now?
Jordan Mason.
Okay, and he is
their running back.
Tell me something about him.
Numbers 24.
Okay,
it's more than I knew.
Where do you go to college?
No freaking idea.
Okay.
Isaac Garendo went to Louisville. He is
Louis?
He's their. I believe he went to Louisville. He's their second string running back tonight, and then probably Deebo Samuel's their third string running back tonight. Good times.
Okay, we'll talk about that coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. Of course, the Padres off today. We're reacting to a series loss to the Giants. We'll do that as well in the 5 o'clock hour, plus giveaways. But right now, let's get to this.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Marcos and Jeremy. Marcos, you called in first, so you have your choice of Jon or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
I'm going to go with Jim since I'm undefeated.
Wow. All right. Thank you, Marcos. You get me. Jeremy, you get Jon, okay?
All right, let's go.
All right, perfect. Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, guys, as week 1 wraps up tonight, can you name the 6 quarterbacks with the most passing yards in week 1? So we're looking for the highest passing yards in week 1.
All
the
right.
top 6.
Mm-hmm. All right. Jeremy, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
We'll go with Matt Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. He's on the list. There you go.
Well done.
Marcos, for you, your first guess, you also have a lifeline if you want to use it. What do you got?
I'm pretty sure Tua was leading this week, so I'm going to go with Tua.
Tua, that's on the list. Good job.
Talk Tua.
Jeremy, back to you. What's your second guess? And you do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
We'll go with Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield on the list. There we go.
That was a reference to the girl got a podcast, right?
Yes, Jon.
Okay.
Marcos, back to you. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I'm going to go with Mahomes. I think he had a pretty good game on Thursday.
Patrick Mahomes on the list. All right. Jeremy, back to you to go 3 for 3. Final guess, and you can use your lifeline if you want to use it. I know Jon knows everything about what happened yesterday, so
I do.
You can ask him for help if you want.
Let's go with Jon. Let's see what he's got.
Who's off the board? It wasn't necessarily listed.
Mahomes, Baker, Tua, and Stafford.
Now the Ravens lost the opener, but I watched that game in its entirety. And Lamar Jackson was the quarterback of the Ravens. I'll say Lamar Jackson.
You take that, Jeremy.
I will take it.
Wow. All right, back to you, Marcos, to finish this off and send this thing to overtime. What do you got? You also have a lifeline if you want to use it.
All right. I have somebody in mind, but I want to hear your lifeline first.
Okay, my lifeline would be CJ Stroud.
What was it? Was it the top 8?
Top 6. There's only one correct answer remaining.
Yeah, so that's my guess.
You know what? I'm going to go with my original gut. I think Jalen Hurts had a really good game. And so I'm going to go with
Okay, there it is.
Oh.
So you wouldn't have said that? Jalen Hurts is correct.
Wow. All right.
And Jim's answer, by the way, was...
What was your answer?
CJ Stroud.
Yeah, it's wrong.
I'm an idiot. I don't know football.
Exactly.
Apparently.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, cool. Now we're going to overtime. Brent, give us the rules of overtime in the question.
All right, guys, the way overtime is going to work is I'm going to ask you another question. When I'm done asking the question, you are going to yell out the name of your partner today, either Jon or Jim. Don't yell out the answer. Whoever yells out the name of their partner first, you are going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys understand?
Yes. Yes.
All right, guys, today's overtime question. Where is tonight's Monday Night Football game being played?
Jim.
Sean.
I heard Jim.
first.
Jim, yeah.
So Marcus,
It's being played in San Francisco.
That is correct for the win. Marcos, you are going to see Hosier just like that. Jim doesn't know football, but we got the 6 correct answers. And Marcos is going to see Hosier again coming up. This is this weekend, September 14th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Where was CJ Stroud on?
9th, so wasn't like 20th or something.
That's not bad.
I thought he had more passing yards because I watched a lot of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
he had 234.
How many 300-yard passers have there been
this year so
2.
far?
2?
Tua and Matthew Stafford.
Tua had 338 and Stafford had 317.
So out of 30 teams,
Mahomes had
played,
291.
Only
so.
2 of the 30 teams threw for 300 yards.
I love how it's week 1 and last night during the Lions Rams game, Matthew Stafford made a really great throw. It was like a 6-yard throw. It was kind of like a no-looker. And Chris Collinsworth goes, "That might be the throw of the year."
Yeah, like it's been like 2 days. No,
it's been a day. Like what are we doing?
100%.
Chill. And then he didn't know the overtime rules, which is also funny.
I know.
Yeah, it's. I used to like. I remember Chris Collinsworth when he used to be like one of the panelists on Inside the NFL on like HBO when like me and John would have been kids.
Mm-hmm.
I liked him a lot more on that show than I do as like a color guy.
I've never had a problem with him. He's got.
I don't have
he
a
acts
problem with him. It's just
tired
like,
as he gets, but I don't have a problem with him. All right, on the other side, we'll get you ready for tonight. Niners and Jets. Plus, is that good? Plus, the Padres, will they be making a change at short, moving Xander Bogaerts from second to short for this stretch run or not? We'll discuss in our 5 o'clock hour. Comes your way next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Bank of America. Week 1 comes to a close tonight. Niners and Jets up in Santa Clara. Big news from that game that hasn't even started yet. Christian McCaffrey is out with a calf injury. Padres, they have an off day today. They start a 2-game series with the Seattle Mariners on Tuesday. And the Aztecs got shut out against Oregon State this past Saturday night. They'll take on Cal up in Berkeley this upcoming Saturday. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, NA, copyright 2024.
So, what to make of the weekend out at Petco? The Padres still lead the wild card race, and it's up to Seattle for a pair versus the Mariners. Oregon State slows down Aztec fast at Snapdragon. What has to happen before the trip up to Berkeley? And NFL Week 1 ends tonight. We break down a full weekend with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim. We do have giveaways this hour, so hopefully you'll be with us until 6 p.m. We're giving away tickets to see Jon Party. It's coming up Saturday, September 21st. We have a pair of tickets to see Glass Animals as well, September 13th. So if you're not going to see the Niners and the Jets, you can see Jon Party or you can see Glass Animals. Because you're not going to Niners Jets.
No. Do you think if I left now, I can make it?
Yeah, you could probably make this game in 18
Do you think
minutes.
Christian McCaffrey likes Jon Party?
He's not doing anything tonight.
He's not doing anything this weekend either, apparently, because he may miss week 2, according to Adam Schefter.
He's not doing anything probably for the rest of the season.
Well, it's an interesting dynamic that's playing out. And the good news is this is completely separate. Is you and I have YouTube TV. If you have DirecTV, which we have in the studio, we are watching it. How are we watching this?
Because it's on ABC tonight. I don't think that's going to go on for the rest of the year, though.
It's on ABC and ESPN. So if you don't have it on ABC, you can't watch it on ESPN with DirecTV.
Here's a good solution.
YouTube
just
TV.
Get YouTube TV and screw DirecTV.
Yeah, promo code Jon and Jim. Except
we don't have.
We're not affiliated with them, but we just recommend it.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. We spent a lot of time in the Niners because that's all Jim talks about as he gets labeled into a lot. Aaron Rodgers missed an entire season. He played 4 snaps in 2023. He's not a kid. He's 40, isn't he? He's 40 years old.
He's 40.
He's being asked to lead a franchise that hasn't had a ton of success back to the postseason in the New York Jets. Like this, to me, is a pretty heavy lift being asked of Aaron Rodgers this season. Miss a year, you're past age 40, and you got to take the New York Jets to the postseason. Can he do that?
A franchise historically known for
not doing that,
failing a lot.
Right.
Very interested to see how he is. The one thing is, if his offensive line is not good, that could be a problem because I don't envision Aaron Rodgers running around too much and using his quote unquote mobility that he doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
He's mentioned he hasn't been hit all offseason. So the first time he gets hit, how is he going to hold up? I think he's going to be fine. And I still think he's got the arm strength and he's got the brain to be out there and he's got weapons.
Oh yeah.
Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, like that line can protect him. I think Aaron Rodgers could do pretty decently for them. I mean, he's not going to do worse than Zach Wilson. He's going to be better than that. And if they have better than Zach Wilson, which Aaron Rodgers, even at age 40 is, I think they could be decent.
Well, what's amazing is like you just said, decent. Then I go to the New York Post and it says Aaron Rodgers begins Super Bowl quest.
Oh, so they
returns for Super Bowl quest. It's
do.
like, okay, you're going to go win the AFC as a 40-year-old and you're going to overtake the Kansas City Chiefs in the process. I mean, okay, I guess anything's possible in sports. Now, I do think tonight's very intriguing. You got a Niners team off the hangover. They're without their best player, arguably. Maybe it's not arguably. Christian McCaffrey's a do-everything player for the San Francisco 49ers. Like, is there any hangover effect? You got the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers back. You have the Niners coming off the Super Bowl loss, as demoralizing as it was, and they're without Christian McCaffrey. How do you think tonight plays out?
I think it's going to be kind of mucky. Like, it's going to be kind of not pretty, in my opinion. Without Christian McCaffrey, this offense is completely different. Like, he is the engine. He does it goes through Christian McCaffrey, and they have a bunch of weapons. But if they don't get their running game going, it's not going to look pretty. So, Yeah, it's a huge loss. I think tonight it could go either way. I know the Niners are favored by 3.5, but always week ones, they're always tricky. Like yesterday, Bengals lost to the Patriots 16-10. You're like, huh? What?
Yeah, true. It's
Knocked
week
a lot
one.
of people out of their survivor pools.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Falcons didn't look good yesterday against the Steelers. Like week ones are always the trickiest because you don't have film on the teams. You just don't. You just have to rely on past schemes, and a lot of teams have new schemes and new players. And so week ones are always the hardest to handicap and figure out. So yeah, I think it could kind of be a little ugly tonight for both teams, especially the Niners without Christian McCaffrey.
And again, oftentimes what happens, not only is it hard to predict week one, we also overreact a lot to the results of week one. They're not full indicators. They can be. There's teams that look good in week one that make a Super Bowl. There's teams that look bad in week one and make a Super Bowl. And now that they've stretched out the regular season to a 17th game, and also now that they've added spots into the postseason, 7 teams per league, you don't have to be perfect out of the gates. I mean, you can start 0-1, of course. Teams can start 0-2 and make the postseason. Now, perception might be interesting. I think San Francisco at home tonight, like, is it going to be a good look coming off a Super Bowl to lose at home to the New York Jets? No, but you heard, but Adam Schefter, we didn't play it, but Adam Schefter basically just said in the pregame, hey, they know this is a long run and they got to be careful with him. So it's probably a little bit of like, maybe you're losing a battle, but you're winning a war.
Well, you also know that Christian McCaffrey carried the ball over 400 times last year, including the postseason.
So they got to lower that number.
And it's got to go way down for him to be effective. And so the last time he carried over 400 times in a season in Carolina, he only played 10 total games the next 2 following seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So like his workload is way too high. I think the letdown season is inevitable. I just do. I think the hangover is inevitable. It always happens. Every Super Bowl losing team always has it. And it just makes it worse that, Chris McCaffrey is going to be dealing with injuries probably for the rest of the season because the calf is not something that just automatically goes away. The distractions in the offseason with Ayuk and then Trent Williams is a factor. Like they haven't had much time together in the offseason. And I just think more than anything else, this hangover is a real thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners are fighting all the way through the entire season just to make the postseason.
It doesn't seem, I'm getting vibes kind of Detroit, Kansas City last year to start the season off about how everyone, John, wrote off Detroit about how they didn't have a chance against the Chiefs and kind of like how pretty much I haven't seen anybody giving the Jets a chance tonight, but like we said, teams aren't always super crisp in week one to where I'm kind of wondering if we might have a repeat of Lions Chiefs from last year.
I mean, is everyone writing off the Jets? They do have Aaron Rodgers. It's like with Aaron Rodgers, it's hard to write him off.
Wouldn't you have to have an expectation though in order to write them off?
Well, the expectation from the New York Post is Super Bowl.
But yeah, you were walking.
Isn't the Post the tabloid?
Probably. The honest expectation for the Jets is to get to the postseason. That's the only reason Aaron Rodgers is there. It's not like the expectation is like, oh, let's get better than last year, and then maybe in 2025 you have to make the postseason. That's why he's there.
Yeah, they don't have a like development plan where it's like
in 3 years we're gonna be really good. No, it's like a now.
It's like Anthony Richardson. Like in a couple of years, he could be amazing. Right. Like, no, you need to win this very second, or else the trade for Aaron Rodgers means absolutely nothing. You need to have that like final season of like that Brett Favre had with the Vikings type of season, right? And even that, they didn't make the Super Bowl, but they made the NFC title game. You need kind of like that type of season from Aaron Rodgers here. And I don't know, coming off an Achilles, that's tough. If his offensive line struggles tonight, it could be a long night because he's not going to be able to move.
The one thing, back to the McCaffrey thing, because that is the story. I think there's 2 main stories. McCaffrey out is a surprise, so that's a huge story. Aaron Rodgers' return we've known about, but it's obviously a massive story. The one thing I would say, like Adam Schefter just said on the pregame show, that not only will he miss week one, there's a likelihood, I'm paraphrasing, but it's very possible he misses Sunday. So week 2 as well. I would just say this, and you're right. He can't have 400 plus carries, whatever it is. He can't have that workload, but it is a fine line. Like it's a fine line where it's like, you can't just do everything in an effort to win in the postseason because you got to be playing good football to get to the postseason. It's like the Clayton Kershaw effect. Like, let's just get him back in the second half and get him ready to go. And then he's going to be at his very best. It doesn't work that way always. So I'm just saying, like, when you start getting careful and limiting things in professional sports, like there's a fine line there. Like you want Christian McCaffrey at his best, but you also don't want him to be hurt either in his effort to be his best.
I called this. Freaking called this.
What'd you call it? That the season was over?
No, that the season was going to be a complete hangover from the Super Bowl, and that Christian McCaffrey would have just an insane down year, and probably the injuries and whatnot. It always happens with Super Bowl losing teams. You tell me, maybe the last Super Bowl losing team that had a season the following year where they were better and they won the Super Bowl. I'll wait. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure it exists, but yeah.
Super Bowl losing teams, even the Chiefs, after they lost the Super Bowl against the Bucks, they didn't make it back the following year. They lost to the Bengals. Now that was the AFC title game, but I mean, they got there, but still, they didn't make it back to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's the only thing I can.
So,
Patriots, like when they lost against the Giants, they didn't make it back the following year. It took them like 10 years to get back.
So you're saying that alone is the reason why they're starting from like behind the eight ball?
I think that coupled with inevitable injuries,
McCaffrey,
coupled with the drama in the offseason, coupled with, I mean, the heartbreak that this team has had the last, truthfully, 3 seasons, dating back to when they lost the NFC title game versus the Rams in LA. You just, to pick yourself up off the ground year after year after year without winning a Super Bowl, at some point you're going to break. You don't just plow through and be like, all right, this is finally the year. Like at some point you break. And I feel like this is the breaking year.
So you're okay. Now you're a Niners fan and you're also always super pessimistic on the Niners. So you're basically, the way you're talking though is like, when you say they're going to break, you're saying like they're going to be the 7th seed,
like
they're going to lose the wild card round,
like 10-7, and they're going to get it like the 6th seed or the 5. Right?
Well, then they're not making a Super Bowl doing that. In all likelihood, they're not making a Super Bowl.
What would be worse for you if the way it's panned out so far of them just losing the NFC title games and stuff, or
just keep losing the NFC title,
or being the Buffalo Bills, to where you go to the Super Bowl 3 straight years to lose?
They are the Buffalo Bills in the NFC, though. Like they're literally on the verge.
The Bills went to back-to-back Super Bowls and lost back-to-back Super Bowls.
I know,
and add it back.
Yeah.
But the Niners going to back-to-back Super Bowls, we'll probably never see that again. I don't think that it's far off to say the Niners are closer to that than not. I think they're closer to the.
Which would you rather suffer through, I guess, is my question.
Oh, this.
Okay.
4 straight Super Bowl losses.
Yeah, it's just different.
I'd be done as a fan, dude. I could not be a fan anymore. That would kill
but the
me.
perspective, you're missing on the grand perspective of the franchise isn't the Buffalo Bills. Like,
no, but they're experiencing things like no team has experienced in the last 20 years.
Okay, maybe the last 20 years, but again, if you go back 35 years.
Well, yeah, that's also.
I mean, that's also part of the story.
Losing 4 straight Super Bowls is way worse than what the Niners have experienced the last 5.
Yeah, especially when you have 5 rings as a franchise.
Correct.
All right, on the other side, we're going to get to Is That Good? The best and worst of the sports weekend. Plus, we'll give away tickets to see John Party coming up next on Jon and Jim. All right, great news for homeowners. Hey, guys, it's Schaefer. Mortgage rates tanking. My friends at Loan Pronto have rates to start with a 4. This is the best rate in years. Listen, if your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto has locked in folks recently at 4.99% APR. Whether you got stuck with your loan last week, maybe it was a few months ago, even within the last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto, even if you're in the process with another lender. Stop now and call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs. You can do it in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can expect 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto will do a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Here's the number, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336. Equalizing lender, NMLS 1661781 on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. All right, so Jim told us on the Niners having like the worst year in franchise history, and their defense was 3 and out on Aaron Rodgers on the first drive. Right. All right, so Jets and Niners are underway. We will keep you updated. Jim will be watching it. I will be doing the show.
Correct.
For the next 40 minutes, but Jim will be forced to do some of the show like this. So let's get to this.
Is that good?
Wilcox, snapper, Huber, holder from 29 yards away. Oh, he missed it badly. Kick on the way. Boswell. That's a winner.
The good and bad from the sports weekend.
Daniel Jones, Mr. $40 million a year man. This weekend went 22 for 42 with 186 yards and 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick six. The Giants lost 28-6 to the Sam Darnold-led Vikings. Brent, is that good?
No, it's no good. Are you kidding me?
All right, so this is where I'm going to go with my first. I'm going to actually wait for this play. This is what it's going to be. On the first play for the Niners in 2024 with their backup running back, they ran for 1 yard up the middle.
It's over.
Is that good?
Season is over.
Is that good for 1 yard gain up the middle with whoever's backing up Christian McCaffrey?
Season's over.
They're doomed.
Oh my God.
What do you got?
I don't know if you have this because I don't see your screen over there, but Caleb Williams, Brent,
he sucked.
Is that good?
We knew that would happen.
It's no good. Are you
You know,
Dude, what are you talking about? Did you see that?
He was
pick
great.
six?
I watched. Yeah, the mayonnaise
Against the
throw
Titans.
boy through it, not us. I hate being right sometimes, and I've been saying for
It's one game.
I know, but I've been saying for a year that I didn't think he was going to look very good, and he looked awful.
It's one game.
I mean, he was only 14 for 29 for 93 yards.
I know, but if you watch the game, it was worse
No,
than
that's-
that.
yeah,
Here,
that's
you-
bad.
He
have-
was not good. He was not good. He was
That is
not
bad.
good. I get it. He was not good.
No, I have a better. He was 0 for 6 under duress, 2 of 8, or he was 2 of 8 for 19 yards against the blitz, 4 for 13 for 40 yards on throws in the air more than 5 yards. He was awful.
Trade him for Deshaun Watson. All right, my
Can, we,
next
can
one.
we have Justin Fields back?
My next one is Dylan Cease, who since the no-hitter, we've talked about this today, has a 5.01 ERA, including this weekend in a loss against the Giants. Is that good?
It's no good. Are you kidding me?
Niners went 3-0.
Season's over. Like, have a better play design. Whatever. Bryce Young is a complete bust, and it's like definitive.
Why would you say that?
He went 13 for 30 in the opener for 161 yards and 2 interceptions. His second pass of the day was an interception. It's bad. Carolina is awful.
It's no good. Are you kidding me?
I'll give a shout out to the MAC and NIU. First ever top 5 win. They do it at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, winning on a late field goal 16-14. Northern Illinois over Notre Dame, the first ever victory for the Mid-American Conference over a top 5 team in the AP poll. Is that good?
Dude, the look on all the Irish fans at the end of the game was priceless.
It was incredible. The crowd shots from Notre Dame Stadium were truly incredible on Saturday afternoon. Saturday was a really good day of college football. I think yesterday in the NFL, like what would you say in terms of the football played yesterday in the NFL? Did it look like nobody played in the preseason?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what it's going to look like now. Is week 1 is going to probably look a little wonky. Like, not a lot of big time passing games.
Yeah.
Not a lot of big time games in general, besides Baker Mayfield. But that's just kind of week 1. Like, it's like a feeling out process, and then as the season goes on, that's when it gets like the scheming and everything happens.
Who were you most impressed by? We could turn the music. I kind of like the music, but I don't like it
Most
that much.
impressed by?
Yeah. Not forget about Thursday. Like on Sunday.
I hate saying this, but it's the Cowboys.
You were most impressed by the Cowboys in Cleveland.
Because I think Cleveland is actually a decent team with
it's a good defense.
A good defense, and they put up 40 points.
Yeah.
Isn't this just par for the course for the Cowboys?
Start fast.
Last
regular
year they
season.
won 42 zip in the Giants, and then they just kind of
Well, was that at home though?
I don't remember.
Because I remember last year they were
terrible.
It's
yeah.
just Dallas
at
always
home.
starts out and makes. Oh, hey, look,
they're-
Dallas actually looks good this
They're good
year.
in the regular
and then-
season with Dak Prescott. They will be again.
Their defense could be legit though. Like
Right,
that's
the part that
the part
changes
that's
it. Yep.
impressed me is
Yeah.
with Micah Parsons, and they have Diggs back at corner. I hate saying that, but to me, they looked pretty impressive against the Browns, and Deshaun Watson looked equally as disappointing.
And who was the worst? Cincinnati at home?
For a team that actually is like trying to go somewhere, probably
Yeah,
Cincinnati.
You can't score. I mean, 10 points. That's super disappointing. Again, is it one game? I think you have to be careful. Even quote unquote bad losses week 1 or quote unquote good wins.
Yeah,
I still think you got to be careful.
Like the only definitive thing out of week 1 is that the Panthers are on the clock.
Okay, you're gonna go that far.
That to me is the only definitive out of week 1, and there's really never definitives from week 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think the Eagles could have one of the best offenses in the league. Like they could have the best offense in the league.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. The Eagles are not off week 1 the favorite in the NFC. I'm sorry,
But
they're
I,
not.
I think that their offense with Saquon and
But Saquon
AJ
was
Brown,
incredible.
yeah.
Do you think Green Bay is going to win any games?
Any
While Jordan Love's out,
Yeah.
no.
or all year? I think they will win a game this year.
Well, some pundits are saying they think they'll be 0-6, 0-7 by the time that Love comes back.
Season's back,
Jim has
baby!
changed his tune.
Season's back.
Niners have forced a turnover. Did Aaron Rodgers open last year on Monday Night Football?
Yes, he did.
Man, they got to stop playing Monday Night Football. It's like this is the fourth play of the year.
That's
Last
already
year,
going better
fourth
than
play,
last year.
Yeah, it was an ACL. This year, the fourth play is a fumble. All right, call right now if you want free tickets. We have free tickets to give away right now to see John Party with Priscilla Block, Larry Fleet, Saturday, September 21st at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First caller to 877-767-4760 as a pair of tickets to see John Party with Priscilla Block and Larry Fleet, Saturday, September 21st at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First caller to 877-767-4760. That's 877-767-4760. Coming up next, back to the Padres. What are they going to do at short with Ha-Seong Kim out? We have the latest next on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Bank of America. Final game of week 1 underway in Santa Clara. Niners 3-0 lead over the New York Jets. Padres, they have an off day today. Start a 2-game series against the Mariners tomorrow in Seattle. And the Aztecs take on Cal this weekend on Saturday. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Bank of America has powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses, so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America, NA, copyright 2024.
This is probably the segment we should.
Let's do it. You know my father-in-law just did to me right now?
No. Your father-in-law is the Eagles fan.
Yes,
He loves
you, Joe.
yeah, he loves me. Okay.
So he sends me a text. He goes, "Hey, man, good luck tonight." And I go, "Yeah, there's no CMC, though." And he goes, "A good buddy of mine played golf with Aaron Rodgers in New Jersey a couple weeks ago." And he sends me a picture
of him
of
and
this
Aaron
guy
Rodgers?
with Aaron Rodgers. And I'm like,
that's not a great omen.
I'm like, that's not cool.
Yeah, you're not looking for that right now.
I'm not down. I'm not cool with that.
At least they didn't call him make fun of McCaffrey.
Little ouchie.
Yeah,
Little ouchie.
Little ouchie. That's going to turn into a big ouchie.
Do you want to take the next 12 minutes to yourself? What if I just turn your
You
mic
could get
on?
ready for your back page.
Yeah, get ready for the back page.
What do
and I'll just talk to Brent.
What do you want to talk about right now?
I'm going to talk about. No, you honestly, here's what I'm going to do. I turned off Jim's mic. I don't want to hear from him for 10 minutes because when I ask him something, when he's just watching the Niners, he doesn't know what I'm asking him. And he just talks to because he thinks he has to talk for 5 seconds and he gives it back to me. And then he starts looking up at the TV screen. Do we have the sound from earlier, Brent, from Mike Schilt and Ha-Seong Kim? Okay. So let's set things up there because what happened over the weekend is something we didn't necessarily expect to happen, which was Xander Bogaerts ended up at shortstop somehow, even though earlier this season he said, "I'm a second baseman. I really don't want to move back to short, even if Ha-Seong Kim is out." But things changed. This was Mike Schilt post-game yesterday. Xander Bogaerts played a little bit of short yesterday. This was Schilt on Bogaerts moving back to short.
We're going to play this thing by ear. Kind of easing Bogey back into the possibility of that. I'm not saying it's a possibility, so I don't want to get it out there too much in the universe, but he was comfortable in a down game going over and getting his feet under him a little bit and seeing what it looked like, and he's willing to do it today. Like I said, we'll take our temperature as we move forward, but it was the opportunity in that down game to get Solano guaranteed extra couple 3 at-bats, turned out, and, get Bogey over there to see how he felt.
Where's Kim at as far as how close he might be to, coming back?
Not as close as we'd like. I mean, yesterday was not necessarily a setback, just wasn't a move forward. So we're still in the evaluation process, but yesterday again was kind of a hit the wall a little bit and a little bit of a reset.
Did he try throwing yesterday?
He did. It's more. It's wouldn't say he didn't bounce back. It was just more of not being able to take that next step.
Next step being to ramp it up to that next.
Right. Next step, cross a diamond, unfiltered, all the plays, ball in the hole, everything to a little more aggression behind it.
And could that lead to, like you talked about a second ago, different options at shortstop?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're taking everything's pretty fluid right now between Kimmy and, what we're doing and what we're seeing. But, we good thing is we got options.
I look at it 2 ways. If there's good here, while Ha-Seong Kim is out, is that, okay, Xander Bogaerts can play short. They haven't done it as of yet, but he played short for his career, including last season, and this will allow Donovan Solano to get on the field. And we'll hear from Xander Bogaerts coming up in a moment. So if there's good, that's good. The truth is Ha-Seong Kim matters, and we can downplay his importance and say, he hasn't hit. He's a good defensive player, and the analytics have always spoken highly on Ha-Seong Kim. He's a difference-making player from a WAR perspective because of his defense, and his WARs have always been really high as a Padres. So can you get by without him? Of course you can. They've played well. Honestly, they've played well without him. Can you win in the postseason without him? Yeah. I mean, we're not talking about Manny Machado or Fernando Tatis Jr., but is it a loss? Yeah, it's obviously a loss. And you can't keep getting away, especially in the postseason, of playing guys like Tyler Wade and Mason McCoy. Like that doesn't work. It's not serviceable. It's not suitable, and you're asking for trouble if you do it, which brings us to this from Xander Bogaerts, which is him saying Donovan Solano's got to play because basically he's better than the other option. So this was Xander Bogaerts postgame.
Have a nice off day tomorrow, So see how that goes. I don't know. I'm happy I got a ball. I got a ground ball. So that was good.
Has anything changed? I mean, you worked so hard, obviously, before to get to second base. Now it looks like Kim might be out longer than they'd hoped. Has anything changed?
For me or for who you mean? The team?
How about both? For you. For you is my question.
And had a couple thoughts creep into my head during the game, and I mean, kind of saw how that game kind of got some stuff going later on. Obviously, it sucks really much that Solano's out of the lineup. That really sucks. I mean, and he's still having an awesome year. He was having even a better one until he stopped playing, every day. So I don't know, man. And I did have some thoughts though. So I mean, I don't know, but I think it really sucks for Solano not being able to play every day, and also knowing what a quality at bat he gives you every at bat pretty much. So if we can get him in there, would be nice.
So it was a long way of him. It wasn't long, but it's a long way of him saying that Tyler Wade, Mason McCoy aren't as good as Donovan Solano, and that's fine and that's fair. And Tyler Wade and Mason McCoy would probably tell you the same thing. The organization is asking Tyler Wade and Mason McCoy to come through each and every day as regulars. They're not regulars. They've gotten away with it for a couple of weeks. They're still well enough position, which goes back to the initial starting off point for the show, which is as good as they've been, and they've been really good, still the best record in baseball in the second half. As good as they've been, they're one game up in the loss column on a playoff spot, and that is crazy talk. But that's a fact. They're one game up on a playoff spot in the loss column. Now, they'd have to be passed by 3 teams, but all 3 of those teams are right there: Arizona, New York Mets, and Atlanta Braves. So these 17 games, they are. Because if they lose tomorrow in Seattle and Arizona wins wherever they're playing, that's huge with just 17 games to play. And hopefully this isn't, again, it doesn't have the feelings of something that isn't sustainable, I think. Like, this isn't 2021. They played great in the second half. In 2021, they were like the worst team in baseball in the second half. But the question is, can they finish? Can they close over these 17 games? What gives them, I'm not even looking at you, Jim. What gives them the best chance to close? Is there a permanent lock button? That's amazing. Hello? Oh, he turned it back on.
It doesn't matter. I just turned his volume down.
Oh, I can't hear myself.
Anyway, the point is the point, which is over these 17 games, you don't have to be perfect, but you might have to be good. So we'll see if they can do that or not. We could welcome Jim back to the conversation for this Niners-Jets game as he gets ready for the back page.
3rd and 7.
So the Niners have a 3-0 lead, but Aaron Rodgers driving.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
He honestly has been freaking. If you've been watching on the live stream, Jim is freaking out. He's already cursed out Aaron Rodgers twice off mic. He's done it multiple times.
I have like an idea. You might want to cover Garrett Wilson. He's been wide open every single freaking play.
Mm-hmm. And that's worked well.
I think it's worked
for
pretty well.
The Jets on this drive.
Yeah.
All right, so this is what it's like to watch a football game with Jim. What does Erin do?
She goes in the other room
for the whole game, right?
She's just like, I can't deal with you. It's not the great.
That is unbelievable. I thought actually when it wasn't like against the Eagles, she would actually watch with you. Jets are on the doorstep.
Oh, perfect season
of
the doorstep of death.
Now, I will say the first couple of now again around the NFL, we said there was no preseason for a lot of guys. It's a little herky jerky. The first couple of Niners drives left a lot to be desired. I don't know what was happening. It's like I was going plays.
You're like, that's a
what
horrible
is this?
Play. Like, throw the ball to a team.
But it also leads me down this path, which is Christian McCaffrey might be really good.
You
because
think?
without him, I think it may impact their offense a lot here tonight.
Yeah.
All right. So are you gonna be able to do back page? It's not an option.
No, I'll be able to do it.
Okay, you
I
will do.
I gotta do my job.
We can always hit pause. Actually, before we hit pause, the Jets have. Oh my God. 7-3 Jets, really 6-3, but Breece Hall avenges his earlier fumble to score from 2 yards out, and the Jets go 12 plays, 75 yards, Jim, against this vaunted Niners defense to take the first lead of the season. How do you feel? Would that be a good question?
Are you tweeting out season's over?
You have to. Do the I want to die meme.
Season's over.
You basically have to, right?
Yeah.
Life is pain.
Yeah. Change your handle to Niners pain and then just tweet out pain. That's what you need to do. All right, here's what we're going to do. We have tickets to give away to see Glass Animals, and we're going to do that coming up momentarily. We do have Jim's back page still ahead. It's a busy week on Jon and Jim. We've got some good guests lined up for you over the course of the next couple of days. Jim is going to do a solo show by and large on Friday because I'll be traveling to Berkeley. I so wish the Niners played Friday at 3 p.m.
Gosh,
What if the Niners played Friday at 3 p.m., the Brazil game, 3 p.m. Pacific, and you were doing a solo show? That would be amazing. It would be the worst radio ever. I mean, it would be awful.
I would have to, honestly.
Tape it?
Like, tape it, turn my phone off.
How would you do updates or do the show? Because what if, like, something sports-related happened? People would be in the chat. You would be miserable.
I was just about to keep everything off. Like, I could not.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Mics off. Everything off.
It would just be
Dude,
like,
I wish Friday the Niners are playing at 3 o'clock.
I would consider taping some things out.
The whole show is what you'd have to
I
do.
know. You'd be like, that'd be the worst radio in the history
it would be
of radio.
so bad. All right, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Glass Animals with iDress Friday, September 13th. This is this Friday, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First caller, you're going to see Glass Animals, 877-767-4760. Again, 877-767-4760. First caller, Glass Animals, Friday night, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Jim's back page. That comes your way next. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim. Excited to get working with our friends over at Hamul Casino, especially this football season. You can join them every single Monday in September for a chance to win big with Monday Night Live $100,000 punch out.
Yeah, with 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m., your odds are better than ever. Plus, earn entries all month long by playing and get 2-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 in cash for all winners and a chance for up to $100,000 in cash. You won't want to miss it.
Yeah, even better than $100, $100,000.
That's a big
That's a big difference. And by the way, Hamul has endless dining 5 nights a week. Their endless dining options include Saturday Surf and Turf Buffet. They're going over the top with the perfect combination of succulent steaks, delectable seafood, an array of mouth-watering accompaniments.
Yeah, get to Hamul Casino all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live, $100,000 punch-out. Hamul, it's fun above all else.
campaign for Jim. The Niners are driving on offense, trailing 7-3. He's got this whole segment coming up. His back page for the rest of the parts of the show. Very few people ever.
Now, what are you going to do with the show? Are you going to stay here until halftime, or are you?
Let's go way on the back page until after this critical season finally goes by. If they don't make it happen, I'm done with this. Okay. Okay. All right. Niners drive. Keep you updated. I promise you that. We'll keep you updated. Right now, though, let's get to this.
So somebody bought one of Jerry's from Seinfeld cereals that we used on the show. The Oatsies.
Okay.
Oaties.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a cereal box that was used on the show Seinfeld,
Mhm.
and it sold for $2,000.
Oatsies or Oaties?
Oaties, maybe. Oaties.
I'm going to go with Oaties. It's going to be that kind of back page.
Oh, man. False start. You suck.
You sound like a...
Literacy is optional with this back page.
Would I say Oatsies?
I don't know.
Oaties. Coming soon to McDonald's.
Oaties?
No. Crocs are coming to McDonald's Happy Meals. They are keychains featuring Crocs that are designed in a bunch of McDonald's themes, like the burgers, fries, and even the ball pit. So for Happy Meals, kids will be able to get Crocs keychains.
That's kind of cool.
I hate Crocs.
Really? But
Yes.
kids like them.
Well, everyone apparently likes
Yeah.
them, but me, I get it.
It's
They're
true.
comfortable, but they're ugly and they look stupid.
They're popular, yeah. And with kids, it makes sense for a Happy Meal. Makes a lot of sense.
If I can't imagine if I was a kid expecting to open my Happy Meal and get like a toy or something, and then I just get a croc.
Like, what is this?
Yeah, I know. That's a good
Can I
point.
get an actual crocodile toy opposed to a toy that looks like a sandal?
Like, when I got a Happy Meal, I would want like a Power Ranger toy or like a Transformers toy. Not
Right.
Here's a
keychain from
shoe.
Croc.
Right. And that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Not the coolest thing, but they are coming soon to Happy Meals nationwide. Crumble Cookies has 3 new items this week, John, with 2 new desserts, a new cookie, and an Oreo collab. We have the classic peanut butter cookie, the chocolate crumb featuring Oreo cookie. We have the, how do you say this? Banoffee pie cookie?
How you spell it?
Banoffee.
Never heard of it.
I never heard of it either.
Yeah.
That's new. The
Mhm.
Tres Leches cake, which we talked about last week, is new. And the lemon cake is also new at Crumble Cookie.
You know what's funny? I got a text. Look at this. At 1:27 from Kristen. I have a crumble cookie addiction. And I'm like, I know you do.
Well,
I'm like,
that's
everyone does.
fine,
I'm like,
because
they're
crumble
cookies.
They are
cookies
awesome.
are amazing. They're
Yeah, it's
awesome.
not like drugs.
It's kind of.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, kind of is actually.
Yeah. And last week we talked about McDonald's bringing back the Crunch Wrap, not the Crunch Wrap, the what was it? Snack wrap.
Snack wrap.
Yeah.
Snack wraps. Yeah. That's like kind of in development right now. Well, lucky for everyone that lives in Canada, because McDonald's is not only bringing back snack wraps in Canada, but they've also dropped 3 new breakfast wraps in Canada as well.
Lots of maple syrup, eh?
The sausage, bacon, and egg snack wrap, the spicy egg and hash brown snack wrap, and the chicken snack wrap.
Spicy egg
Wow.
sounds good.
I would eat the sausage, bacon, and egg snack wrap.
Sure, why not?
But it's only in Canada.
But you
so-
got to go fly to Vancouver.
Now, what's the difference between a breakfast snack wrap and
And
the
a snack
breakfast
wrap?
burrito that they already sell?
It's a good point, Brent. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Is that the whole back page?
Yeah, it's my 4 stories from the back page.
You know what we didn't mention today? Not once.
Let me think about this. Is it NFL related?
No, but it's real sports related.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about. Alex Morgan, her final game was yesterday. She played 13 minutes. She got subbed out in the 13th minute. The Wave scored in the 13th minute of that game. Unfortunately, she missed a PK early on. That would have been
a goal in her finale
ending, and place was packed, and she had her daughter there. It was just I turned it on. I watched. It was a great scene.
I mean, no, you're right. Huge crowd, over 26,000 in the building on a Sunday afternoon. She played 13 minutes. She steps aside as one of the all-time greats in women's soccer. Pretty cool for San Diegans to experience that. Not just that, but the last 3 years of her career, including a really darn good year a year ago when they had the best record in the NWSL. So Alex Morgan, 35 years of age, has retired from soccer. We mentioned this a little bit last week, I want to say, like, where do they go from here as a club? I mean, those are big shoes. Those are real big shoes, and they've really struggled, by the way. I want to say they lost last night.
They lost 4-1, I think.
Yeah, so they have really struggled, just like the Niners have to get this offense going here tonight, with Deebo Samuel running around like a crazy person somehow to lose 5 yards. They just did trick play on 3rd and 5 that should have lost 20 yards.
Like the Jets saw it coming. Dude was in the backfield before the trick even started.
Wow.
What is happening?
I don't know what that was.
The thing I'll say this about the Niners real quick is, like, when they don't have oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When they don't have like their full team out there,
it doesn't look as good.
It doesn't look good. They don't know how to function when they don't have their full team. And I bet they practice with McCaffrey all week.
True. He said Friday, like you said, he was playing.
And so, like,
yeah.
Now we've had pretty much a full week now. Can we officially say the new kickoff rules are dumb and a bust?
I don't like them.
Because all the teams are like, hell with it. We're just going to kick it
out of it.
Touch back anyways.
I don't like
screw
it.
the new rule.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
It's pointless. Like,
now,
we said,
maybe I'll get used to it, but it's not like a 3-point shot. Like, a 3-point shot's cool. Like, I get the idea of that. This to me isn't overly cool. Your boy Jake Moody, though, he's not thinking
MVP.
about missing kicks in the Super Bowl because he's 2 for 2 today.
Their best player.
All right. We're not going to keep you up to. If you want more on Jets Niners, follow Jim on Twitter.
Finally, before we get out of here, I have to mention, rest in peace to James Earl Jones, one of the voices of our generation, passed away today at the age of 93.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
You didn't see that?
You didn't see that?
Dude, I've been in this room all day training Sammy and doing 87 other things. You know, I could walk outside and the apocalypse could have happened at 3:30 and I would have missed it.
It did.
James Earl Jones passed away, and the
Age
Niners
of
are going
93.
to implode. Yeah.
All right, Jim, enjoy the rest of this game. Enjoy.
Thanks.
In quotations, because
I won't enjoy it.
You're going to be.
No,
losing
I'll
your
enjoy
mind.
it.
Okay, you're going to enjoy it.
They're gonna win.
Yeah, they may. Yeah. They may absolutely win. All right, all week long, great giveaways for you. We're back tomorrow as well, of course, at 3 p.m. right here on San Diego Sports 760 with more giveaways, and we'll get you ready for game 1 of that 2-game series as well between the Padres and the Mariners. Tough, sneaky series is what I would say. I know the Mariners haven't been the best team in baseball in the second half. They have good pitching, and the Padres need to find a way to at least split that 2-game series in Seattle. They're beginning a 5-game trip, and San Francisco has also been good on the road. So again, Padres 17 to play, trying to get into the postseason and do damage once they get there in 2024. All right, if you missed anything today, we still have time, apparently.
Yep.
All right. If you missed anything today, we still have time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Actually, like, what did you miss today? We talked about Ha-Seong Kim.
Xander Bogaerts.
We talked about the Aztecs, obviously, against Oregon State. We heard from Sean Lewis. We had Jennifer Lee Chan on the show.
NFL.
And the downfall of the San Francisco 49ers.
So if you missed anything like that, go to sportsfc.com or the iHeartRadio app or iTunes or TuneIn Radio or Spotify. If you're listening to us on podcast, please leave a review as well. You can find us on social media wherever. That's Jon Jim, JON, ANDJIM. We're back tomorrow at the exact same time, 3 p.m. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego